Hello!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first Sequelisers public live stream ever. We're very excited to be hosting this. If you guys haven't joined us before, because it's previously been a Patreon exclusive thing, we are the Sequelisers. Welcome. I'm Jack. You can see my little avatar thing down the bottom there on my Twitter handle. Next to me is Matt Stogden. You can see his little avatar and his little Twitter handle down there as well. And of course, joining us, the third Sequeliser, it's Tim Matum.
Hello.
Welcome, everybody. How are you guys? Are you excited for our first public live stream?
Yeah, very.
the sort of pause. Yeah, no, it's good. It's exciting. We've been doing this now. As people might see from the thumbnail, this is our 9th live stream since the lockdown live stream boom. But the first one that's been live for the public, so it's been exciting.
Yeah,
and a big one to kick off with.
I will flick over now, and for those of you who have joined us before, you can see we've done some upgrades. We've got an overlay now made by myself. We've got our own little logo in the corner there. We've upped our game. We've upped our production quality for live streaming and stuff. And I can even share. So going back to the thumbnail here, as you can see, coming up later on, we've got our Spielberg Director Showdown. Very excited to do that. And as you said, Matt, this is our 9th one. Doesn't feel like we've done 9. It feels like we've done a lot more for some reason. But then looking at the previous Director Showdowns we've done and all that kind of stuff, we've covered some interesting topics, I think. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting stuck in. And we've already got loads of people in the chat. Hello, everybody. Some regular faces. If you recognize some of the patrons from Sequelisers throughout the years and throughout the months we've been on Patreon, you'll probably recognize people like Josh Vandersloos. Here's little Josh Vandersloos. Andy Steen as well. Jonathan Firth Clark. Great to see you guys joining us. Thank you very much, everybody. We've got Canis, who's also a regular of ours. Xenos, also another patron of ours. Hello, Xenos. And some new faces in the chat. Some non-patrons, I believe. We have Bradley. Hello, Bradley. Welcome. Welcome to the live stream. Tim, another Tim.
Yes.
Hello, another Tim.
Too many Tims.
Standing up for the Tims. And yeah, so welcome to the first full public live stream and how they're going to be from now on. We're going to not be doing any sort of behind the paywall live stream stuff. We might do some extra bonus stuff in the background, but these full monthly live streams are now public for good, basically. And we're going to be doing director showdowns, we're doing games and quizzes, and here's a little reveal for you. We're going to have guests on the live streams in the future. We thought we'd do the first one with just the 3 of us, but I know both my distinguished co-hosts have been on the Unequal Sequel podcast recently, hosted by Rich and Dave. Fantastic podcast. I'll post the link to that in the chat in a few minutes. Give a shout out to Rich and Dave. They're fantastic. And yeah, Matt's done his episode. Tim, I believe your episode comes out this week in a couple of days at the time of recording.
So. Yeah.
Comes out on Monday and we're recording on Saturday. So that comes out soon. And yeah, the plan is to do more crossovers like that. You'll be hearing our voices on other people's shows. We'll get more people coming over and working with us. We basically want to expand the wonderful Sequelisers crossover family, basically, and have some familiar faces, some people you'll probably recognize if you know the history and the lore of Sequelisers and who we're friends with and other creators and all that kind of stuff. But yes, we're planning to have lots more people and familiar faces, brand new faces, and us showing up on their content as well. So we're opening the floodgates, essentially.
Yeah, now we're all double vaxxed and safe to cross over again.
I'll be double vaxxed next week, for the record. I've got a few little while
in
to
spirit.
wait, but yeah, I'm nearly there. I'm
in my my 2-week window where I'm not at maximum strength yet, but I'm getting there.
You're charging up like a Dragon Ball character.
I was about to say the exact same thing. Yeah, the 3 episodes of leaving yourself open to attack.
And before we move on to anything else, we're going to get pretty much stuck in straight to the Director Showdown like we do, because we've got a lot to talk about with Mr. Spielberg, as we will get onto.
Yeah.
This live stream is in fact sponsored by our wonderful partners at Manscaped. They save balls, everybody. And you can, in fact, go to manscaped.com and use the code SEQUEL, and you get 20% off and free shipping. And in fact, I have my little... I'll get this off the screen, one sec. I have my little package here. There we go. My Manscaped.
Your little package.
My Manscaped package, if you will. And yeah, you can go to manscaped.com, use the code SEQUEL, and get 20% off and free shipping. That package that I just showed on screen, my package, if you will, is the Lawnmower 3.0, the crop preserver ball deodorant, and the ball reviving toning spray, as well as a nice t-shirt to go with it, and some pants, and even like a little bag to keep it all in. It's a very, very nice package. We very much appreciate the support from Manscaped. So if you can do us a favor and go and support us, like I said, go to the link in the little comment down there, go to manscaped.com and use the code SEQUEL. You get 20% off and free shipping. And shipping can be really expensive. You know? It can be a real pain these days.
Yeah.
And if you're looking to trim your downstairs, whether you're male or female, you know, just because it's Manscaped doesn't have to be for the men out there. I know I've, we all three of us have received.
Where are we going with that?
If you will. all three of us have received a package,
yes.
and are now Manscaped officially, and can endorse. You know, I like to think that we're honest in our sponsorships, and we wouldn't
just read copy for the sake of it. It's genuinely a good product. We support it entirely. It also guarantees. This is another reason why this is now a public free stream, because we have sponsorship and the Patreon's doing very well, so we can share this with you guys and things. But so again, if you are interested in this kind of product, which again we recommend, it's very, very, very good. Please do check out the link and get yourself a little saving in the process, because. Again, as somebody who's used these things in the past and gone, this will be fine. Oh no, this product is not designed for this. Oh God, oh what have I done? It's nice something that actually is designed for that specific job. So we support them and they support us. We should support us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you want to support us, if you want to support them, I will chuck a link in the comments in the section. There'll be a link in the description as well. You can go and check out there and support us. Thank you for sponsoring the live stream and sponsoring the show. As you may have noticed, you've been listening to Sequelisers since the season finale of season 8. Go and check them out. Your balls will thank you. Got the slogan in there. I remembered the slogan.
You did. You were well done.
Got a little bit of a review of my ad copy reading here.
Oh, really?
It's a sneak preview of Jack Spiel in live and in person. It was uncomfortable, yet also weirdly horny. Welcome to my live stream
That's
technique.
the line we like to straddle, you know.
Yeah. That is the Sequelisers way.
It's true. It's our other one. It's like bad sequel sorted. Also, we straddle that line. Because like, what line? Well, I can tell you. Step inside.
Exactly. Some of those sequels people prefer to the originals, and we're like, no, you're wrong, and here's why.
So the usual format where we have a bit of chat, engage with you guys, talk about some film news and things, what we've been up to, yada yada yada. Not as present today, because this is going to be the biggest bracket we've ever had to handle for these direct things. Jack,
it's safe to say Steven Spielberg has made a lot of movies, and also a lot of very good movies.
That's the problem.
There's a lot to talk about.
We are spoiled for choice. Jack, did you? I'm sure you have some images of some previous brackets and how they went down.
I certainly do, Matthew. I certainly do. Like you said, production value out the wazoo.
Provided actually by lovely John Scarrett.
Where would you like me to start? Yeah, John Scarrett, lovely Mr. John Scarrett. He has done some fantastic brackets. If you haven't seen them before, I will show off our previous ones now and some results and some spoilers essentially for the previous live streams before we get stuck into the epic one that is Mr. Spielberg.
Just people know what the visuals are going to look like.
Exactly. We'll start off with the small one. We'll start off with Park Chan-wook. Here it is. The winner, The Handmaiden. And basically we have a little screenshot. We have the title of the film, and we'll run them down one by one. We'll talk about the Rotten Tomatoes scores. We'll talk about box office numbers. And then the three of us will run through and vote on what we think deserves to go through to the next round. There is also a seeding process, which we'll get onto in a moment once we reveal Spielberg's full brackets, if you know what I mean. We also did a bit of Ron Howard, much bigger bracket there with some seeding. You can see in the top left and top right there. The safe pair of hands that is Mr. Ron Howard. We also did one of my particular favorites, John Carpenter, and The Thing, one of my favorite movies of all time, won that one. And of course, maybe the biggest director, save for Mr. Spielberg, that we've tackled so far, Mr. Martin motherfucking Scorsese.
Yeah.
The Departed, controversially.
That was such a crazy ending, yeah.
This was the most controversial one I think we've had so far. The Departed one for Martin Scorsese. And as we've teased in previous live streams, we will have, when we have enough films, we will eventually do a Champions of Champions and do a big battle and see
I'm not
all the
ready for
winners
that.
from all the directors battling it out.
Oh, that's gonna be horrible.
Yeah, it's gonna be a hell of a battle, shall we say? And yeah, we've got lots of comments coming in. I'll be sharing comments throughout, so please do get involved, get joining in the chat. As you mentioned, Matt, Mr. John Scarrett, provider of all of our logos and designs and everything like that, is joining us, and he says, "Temple of Doom for the win."
Piss off, John.
The spike trap. Bloody hell! We're going to get a lot of strong opinions. I think Mr.
There's been a lot of
inspires
infighting. I think,
inspires a lot of passion from viewers.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a tricky one.
I'm gonna get right out ahead of this, okay? Because what we tend to almost forget to do is to say who we think is going to win beforehand, and then we might get like maybe 2 or 3 in and say, "Oh yeah, who do you think is going to win?" By the way, so I want to just jump on this right now. It is my opinion that it is very difficult to gauge Spielberg without nostalgia, because he is very much a prominent person in a lot of people's lives in the same way, like. Actually, I don't know a lot of directors who have had this impact, at this point, as in a single creative who has changed industry and done so very much in a big, broad spectrum of things that have, won awards and gone on to create huge franchises, etc. And I think it comes down to what you were introduced to when you were born. So people go, "Oh, that's pretty good. Oh, I enjoyed that. That's got some positive elements." But then it comes to like Jaws, Indie, Jurassic Park, World War II stuff. That there is going to be, I think, the really. I mean, I think a lot of these things are going to be an interesting discussion and a bit of back and forth. But then when it hits some of these powerhouse films, it's going to be a case of like, I mean, I like it, it's great, but this is this, and that'll be the end of the discussion. Our vote will be like almost like, yeah, I've got to vote for this. I can't see it. Unlike something like Scorsese, where the Departed one, it was a big shock. Ridley Scott, we did a bit like, oh god, it's going to be Blade Runner versus Alien, what's going to happen? Something ended up being, I think it was like, was it Gladiator 1? We'll get through. The point is, it's the idea of what sways us during the conversation. So if you just see the bracket, it can be like, how did The Departed beat Goodfellas? And then we discuss it so much, and it becomes like, oh, I see, I can see how you got there now. So this one, for me personally, my favorite Spielberg movie, and the one I would introduce people to Spielberg, say, oh, if they like something like, 16, 17-year-old kid or something who's never seen a Spielberg film, so right, I've been somehow blinked to this entirely. What do I watch? Go watch Jurassic Park.
That's the I'm not spoiling my choice here, but that's the correct answer, Matthew. And again, it's totally nostalgic. We'll get into this. But that is totally nostalgic for me. But Jurassic Park is a big shout.
I think Jurassic Park is my pick to win, but I think my favorite is Raiders.
Oh, wow, interesting.
Yeah.
But this way, I don't think anything outside the 80s or 90s is going to get to the final. Yeah.
I don't know. I think there's a couple of dark horse candidates in there that will go further than people expect, especially from the kind of the 2000s period. Because I think we did have a little bit of
a couple of predictions coming in already as well
true.
from the chat here. Hook making a deep run, maybe. We shall see.
I like Hook.
We shall see. Jonathan Firth Clark saying Saving Private Ryan, Raiders, or Schindler's List. Schindler's List is a big one. Doesn't get talked about, but it's going to be a big one.
Yeah,
it's going to be a big one. It's not one of the like, oh, I have so much nostalgia for this harrowing film.
Tim is going to dead eye us every time and say artificial intelligence. Put it down all the way to the final. It's like, what the hell? How did that win? Kubrick trusted him, did he?
Yeah, exactly. Tim, we've got a couple of people saying you're quite quiet in the chat. If you're able to turn yourself up
as loud as I can on this. I don't know if it's a. People may have noticed I'm coming from a different background. I'm actually at a friend's house in London this time, so I'm away from home, away from my usual mic setup.
Remote Tim live on the scene.
Exactly.
Here's Tim with the weather.
Back in the studio, going to Tim live in the field. What do you see, Tim? It's London. Cool. Thanks, Tim.
Yep. Let me just.
And literally, Tim just pulls in Steven
Not raining
Spielberg and
yet.
says, "No, I'm all right, thanks." It's like,
Can confirm, still London.
um,
And to go with the Director Showdown, our sponsorship, all of our lovely new overlays and graphics and stuff, we are also doing the Season 8 giveaway on this live stream. So we're not doing a tweet, we're not doing a video, and this whole like, tell us what episode you like most, all that sort of stuff.
although do tell us, we're always curious.
Please do tell us. Please do tell us. We will ask for feedback later on. Don't worry. But as usual, if you are familiar with Sequelisers from previous seasons, we give away all of the DVDs for the good and bad movies that we talked about on that season, which for season 8 looks a little bit like this. It's a mishmash of absolute shit and then some absolute brilliant films and then lots of other shit as well.
It's grubby when it's all together.
Tim and I are still on screen. Hello.
Yep.
No Matt. We've blocked out Matt. But yeah, you've got everything from Riddick and all the Riddick films. You've got the first 3 Transformers movies, the modern Goosebumps films, both Starship Troopers, the first 2 of those, Grease and Grease 2, 7 Saw films, 3. Yeah, it's all 7 leading up to Spiral and Jigsaw. It is the modern trilogy of Star Wars films, 4 Karate Kid movies, 4 Bourne movies, not Jason Bourne. It's terrible. Both the Blair Witch Project and A Partridge in a Pear Tree. Exactly. All of that to be won. Hello, Matt. Welcome back. All of that to be won if you can basically suggest what do you think should win. And we'll do that right at the end of the live stream when we have our winner. Tell us what you think should have won, and we'll pick one comment at random. We will flash you up on the screen, and then we'll contact you. Probably DM you on Twitter. It's probably the easiest way of getting a hold of you. And then, we'll give you a big pile of DVDs. Oh, and one more thing. And our new T-shirt release.
It's me!
It's Matt, covering Matt. And it's a fantastic design once again from Mr. John Scarrett. If I zoom in on the design there, because I can. And there we go.
God, I got a flat body.
Our lovely little faces. I wish I could say the same thing about myself, Matthew. I'm not so flat.
I don't think a flat body's a good thing.
But yes, all of our lovely little faces there in various different designs from various different seasons and various different movies as well. In a fantastic print from our friends over at Vino Sangre, a local fantastic printers here in Norwich. And of course, like I said, all designed and built and constructed and formatted by the wonderful Mr. John Scarrett. So you can win all of the DVDs and a T-shirt in a size of your choice.
In a mat.
And a mat. You can win a Matt Stogden as well.
Come over, take off the T-shirt he's wearing and put it on you.
Oh.
And then lecture you about movies for half an hour. You won't want it. It sounds like a surprise. It's not. These guys can attest to that.
Exactly. We've, I think most listeners have experienced that on the episode before, where you kind of we wind you up and let you go for the next 20 minutes of Matt just talking about films and stuff.
Yeah.
You disappear into your own world.
That's true. That's true.
So, with that all out of the way, like I said, we'll run through some more details and we'll get into details of all the films and stuff. Shall we reveal the bracket, gentlemen?
I was going to just scream, take it out. That's a really weird thing to put on the internet. So, but yes, please.
Take it out. Get it
Take it out.
Yes, why did you have to get so weird?
I think, again, half an hour of that is going to be part of a prize. People know what to expect at this point.
Yeah. Well,
yes.
Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. I'll go full screen with it just to show it off. Look at that.
Christ.
What a beast. What an absolute beast.
We'll zoom in a second, but take a moment to relax. John puts in a lot of work to these things, and you can't see it because it's too goddamn big. It's too much.
Exactly. We'll get into that in a moment, but there's a lot to talk about. Here we are on the left-hand side, and we'll get into the bracket.
Should we talk about the seeding process and why everything is where it is?
Please do. Educate the listeners, please, Mr. Stockton.
It's tournament stuff, isn't it? So anyway,
brilliant.
Our most recent episode, i.e. the one out on Tuesday or out now for patrons, is sports movies, and this seeding process is integral to almost all form of sports and contests and tournaments and things like that. And the idea is you don't just pit the best people against each other from the outset. You have them meeting towards each other in the center, as it were. So there's a seeded process where the bracket is placing them at certain points. So, for example, the outside has these various movies. Now, again, we've done the top 26, I think it is, of Spielberg's films based on our own rankings. There are a few things that aren't there. People go, "Oh, where's Duel?" And it's like, well, that's a TV film, and we're not going to get into it too much. But the point is, if it's really shit, like Crystal Skull in 1941, other bits pieces, they go, "Oh, I kind of enjoyed that." It's not here. There are some surprising ones that are here, but the ones that aren't here. But in the middle there are 6 movies. Can I use a pointer? Yes, but the pointer's so small it doesn't make a difference. So there's 6 movies, and they are the highest ranking. They are basically, and I'm not just talking about 6 really good movies. I'm talking about 6 of the best movies of all time, kind of thing. Spielberg's 6 best movies according to our sources. So they already have a sort of running head start. And then people sort of, we work through the chaff, as it were, get to that point, and then work to the center. I'm going to say this right now. I don't think anything on the outside is going to beat these 6. We'll have a look, and we'll go through them all in detail. But I think those 6 are. Most of these movies are going to be somebody's favorite film. Yeah, so it's quite an intense visual, but it is designed accordingly. You just like chuck it in alphabetically or chronologically. It's literally designed specifically so it's fair, shall we say, sort of.
Absolutely.
But where things land is very interesting, because you think to yourself, oh, hang on, because we found this with our Ridley Scott one. If you'd asked us respectively 2 best Ridley Scott films, we go, okay, well, Blade Runner and Alien, and they're on the same sort of West bracket as always. Like, oh, well, that means they're not going to be in the final. They have to be wiped out before then. Same with, I think, Halloween and Escape from New York and the John Carpenter one. I was like, oh, I would have thought these would be like possibly. Obviously, The Thing was always going to win that one, but you know what I mean. It's those interesting moments of like, oh, it's going to be, as people have already been guessing in the comments, oh, Jaws versus Jurassic Park or something. It's like, but if they're on the same side, that might come a lot sooner than you think. It might never come at all. That kind of thing. So. I'm actually really excited. It's going to be really interesting, this one.
Me too. I'm very intrigued. We're getting, like I said, some more comments coming in from the chat as well. Thank you so much for joining us. This is our largest audience for comments and stuff. We're already getting flooded with comments, which is fantastic. Can confirm, where are we? Where is it? Tim? There was a comment about you, Tim, and I'm trying to find it. About your reporting skills.
Tim is a bastard. And it's like, oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's from
Tim is the hottest reporter in the West, I believe is what it says.
Oh, okay. I do my best.
There we go. Tim, hottest reporter on the West side. Confirmed. And damn, that's a lot of DVDs.
Accurate.
That's a lot of films. Yes, it is a lot of films.
Yeah.
I heard this bracket can be seen from space from Andy. Yes, it can.
Actually, if you get the News of the World next Sunday, it'll be a big fold out that you can stick up on your wall.
We need to get the News of the World sponsorship deal going, where we can get our brackets included in there.
I have a memory of doing that with the big old newspaper thing, and then writing on a biro, and you take it off the wall at the end of the tournament and go, "Oh no, all the newsprints on the other side of my wall now." Oh, the past before we had apps and phones. Should we do a bit of a zoom in and go for a quick rundown of what's there?
Please do. So, like I said, listeners, Matthew is in control of the bracket, so I will hand over control to Mr.
Dangerous man to give the keys to this thing
to. Very much so. Very much so.
Zoom in. Right, let's see if I can do this properly first time round. Zoom, 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 zoom.
Oh.
Zoom.
We can actually see film titles and
things are moving around, so you can hopefully see what I've got to see. Yes, you can. Good.
Right. On that, you can see.
Okay, so we have here... I'm just going to literally run through titles, just so we know what they are. Munich versus The Terminal, and whichever one wins, we've got Schindler's List. The Color Purple versus Hook. E.T. the Extraterrestrial versus The Lost World Jurassic Park. Bridge of Spies versus The Adventures of Tintin, which will then go up against Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade. We've got Close Encounters of the Third Kind against Artificial Intelligence, or AI Artificial Intelligence, and that goes up against Jurassic Park. And now I gotta do this thing where I run across, and I'm glad this isn't like a studio in the 70s with a screen. Then you've got Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom versus Lincoln, and that will go up against Saving Private Ryan. Got Empire of the Sun versus The Post. Surprising some people, Jaws is not in one of the best rated.
Madness.
Some people are going to kick the fuck off about that. Jaws versus against War of the World. Ready Player One versus Amistad, which will then go on against Raiders of the Lost Ark. Minority Report versus Warhorse, and that will go against Catch Me If You Can, which is again, curiously, in one of the upper brackets. So the 6 main ones are Schindler's List, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, Jurassic Park, Saving Private Ryan, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Catch Me If You Can.
Catch Me If You Can above Jaws in the
People
top
love
6.
that film, apparently.
Mad. Well, unless you want to be here all day, we're going to have to whip through these pretty much.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's
zoom back in again.
And like I said, we'll get to giveaways and stuff at the end, but let's zoom in. Let's get stuck in.
Right.
I've got stats. I've got stuff. Let's get stuck in.
Munich versus the Terminal. That's 2005 against 2004, isn't it? They're probably one of the closest ones that are together.
Mm-hmm.
Very different tones. Very different movies.
Yes, very different.
Yeah. Jack, do you want to give us the stat lowdown?
Please.
Get into
I certainly can.
opinions?
As Matt, you said, 2004 for The Terminal, of course, starring the wonderful Tom Hanks. Only 61% on the tomatometer. And for those of you joining us for the first time, that is the Rotten Tomatoes score of the percentage of reviews that given it a 6 out of 10 or more, or an equivalent of or more. 61% with an audience score of 74% for The Terminal. And then moving right along to 2005, like you said, Matt, 78%, so higher on the tomatometer, and an audience score also higher of 83%. So the critics and the audience prefer Munich, according to Rotten Tomatoes.
It's the weightier subject. Terminal is a very light affair about a man who is traveling to New York, always wants to, doesn't speak English at all, and his country goes to war, very loosely based on a real thing that happened in Charles de Gaulle airport in France. And because of this strange, your country is not a country anymore because it's under siege and we can't let you in, your visa's revoked, we can't send you back either because it's a war zone, you just have to stay in the airport. And they always just assume Stanley Tucci, who's in charge of it, he just assumes he's going to escape and just run out of the door, and it's like, that's not my problem anymore. But he doesn't. He obeys the rules and causes them more grief. And it's a very light-hearted sort of fun romp, very innocent in its ways. Munich is not. Munich is about the Munich Olympics assassination.
That fun romp. Romp about assassination.
And then a sort of Israeli Black Ops team taking revenge, basically, for all those involved. These are tricky films because I don't think there are individuals who say Munich is Spielberg's last good movie. I think that's partly. There's some weight to that sentence. I think The Terminal is a nice movie. I think a lot of people enjoy it because it's quite lighthearted. I think Munich is good, but people forget it. People forget a lot about it. People forget who's in it. It's Eric Bana, by the way.
And an early Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig just before he was about to do Bond, and everyone saw him with like a gun and thought, oh, he'd be good as Bond. Kieran Hines is great in that movie. Jeffrey Rush is good. There's a lot of really stand-up performances because it's a bloody Spielberg movie. You usually get something.
Steven bloody Spielberg, isn't it?
Steven Spielberg, isn't it? It's the director that everyone can name. So name me a director. Spielberg. So I don't know. Actually, I don't know how I'm going to vote on this one, but I'm.
We're getting some love from the chat already.
Oh, good.
I love The Terminal from Bradley. Mm-hmm. The Terminal for me, but it'll be a short outing either way because they're going up against some big hitters later on. Yeah. Terminal for me too. I like The Terminal, but Munich is better, which is a very interesting take there, which I'm sure we'll talk about from Jonathan Firth Clark there as well. So, yeah, interesting.
I think it's going to be. We shouldn't overstep ourselves because it is a moot point because it's going against Schindler's List, but at the same time, every single bracket has its own validity. I think. Just to show you how we do this. So, as I say, we all vote once, and because there's 3 of us, it's guaranteed to go through or not. There won't be any tiebreakers. We usually say, have we seen anything or not seen anything? Is there anything? I know, Jack, you were close to have seen them all. Is that now the case?
I have not seen 2 movies on this list. Apart from that, I've seen them all.
Tim?
And that was a hard graft over the last few weeks of me brushing up on Spielberg movies I hadn't seen in like 15 years in some cases.
Yeah, I did some rewatching recently as well. So
Spielberg does not do short films either, so that's always helpful.
He does not.
No.
Okay. So we do our voting, and the voting change. So it'd be Jack, Matt, Tim, then Matt, Tim, Jack, and then Tim, Matt, Jack, Matt. Because that way, it doesn't always have someone who goes, and I'm outvoted this time, so I don't get, just to give it a bit of thing.
Alternate the deciding vote and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly,
right?
exactly. Because it was put weight on someone's shoulders.
God forbid there is a tie and we haven't seen it, or one of us refuses to make a decision, we turn to you, listeners, to make the decision. We will go to the chat, we will discuss, and then we'll get some votes from you guys, and we'll see how it goes. So,
yes.
Yeah. Get some interaction with the audience on this stuff.
So you guys have both seen these movies?
Correct. Yes, I have.
And they're both your favorite Spielberg films, right?
Yep. Spot on.
I saw Munich in the cinema. I don't think I saw The Terminal in the cinema. The Terminal is very much, to me, it's that kind of classic, like Sunday afternoon, watch it on the telly.
Yeah.
Type movie. It's very warm-hearted. It's a lot of it is coasting on Hank's charm.
Yes.
And he gives a great performance, and there's a lot of other. Stanley Tucci's great in it, playing this quite kind of prickly airport administrator. And it's light-hearted, and it's a very nice story. And sometimes that's exactly what you want.
Yeah. I think also another thing we should point out, I want to get ahead of this, because some people may not know this. There are times when we will say, I'm putting this through because it's my favorite. I'm putting this through because it's the best. And it's like, well, which one is it, guys? Don't know. We'll just decide the moment. It doesn't tend to be like, we're ranking this only on what is the best movie or only my favorite. It's like, so I'll tend to try and go with what is the best film, but I don't always do that. But I think I'm ready to vote on this one if you guys are.
Yep.
I am ready.
You first, Jack.
The Terminal for me.
Oh, got a great one out from the gate then. I'm voting Munich. Tim.
I like The Terminal, but I prefer Munich.
There it is.
I think the thing is that this is a Steven Spielberg poll or bracket, and it doesn't feel like there's a lot of Spielberg's personality in The Terminal. It feels like it's mostly Tom Hanks.
I love me some Tom Hanks, though. So.
If you told me it was a Ron Howard film, I'd say, yeah, of course it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fair point.
Safe pair of hands.
Safe pair of hands.
Zenos, one of the regulars, like I said, one of our executive producers, made a good point as well, saying, I called you all listeners because I'm a podcaster. We're viewers at the moment, Jack. Thank you, Zenos, for calling me out. It's down to you, viewers, on YouTube. Exactly.
Okay.
Next round.
Next up again, it's one of that amazing. Again, Spielberg does a lot of tonal whiplash. He wants to talk about really heavy-hitting subjects and also some levity. So we have The Color Purple, which really, really jettisoned Whoopi Goldberg's career as an actor, and Hook, a film that just squeaked into this list. And even Spielberg to this day goes, didn't get it right. I have a lot of nostalgia for Hook, obviously. I like The Color Purple. It's a very, very solid and very, very good film. So this is going to be a difficult one because it's going to be a case of, again, me grading, childhood 8-year-old Matthew, whatever it is, 7-year-old Matthew versus film critic Matthew. What about you guys?
Jack, do you want to give us the stats?
I can give you the stats.
Thank you.
Go straight in with 1985's The Color Purple. As you said, Matt, the film that essentially launched Whoopi Goldberg's career into superstardom that we knew her through the late 80s and early 90s. 81% on the tomatometer with an audience score of 94%. So the audience fucking love The Color Purple.
Yeah.
And a very, very interesting combination of scores for 1991's Hook.
Yeah.
You can probably guess where I'm going here, folks, but the tomatometer, as you said, Matt, just squeaked on because this is not a critically acclaimed movie at 29% on Rotten Tomatoes on the tomatometer. However,
that's
the audience score is 76%. So the audience love it. Again, I grew up with that. Robin Williams is charming, all that kind of stuff.
Just screaming bangarang.
Well, a lot of people don't think it's a well-made movie, and there's a lot of problems to it, and all this kind of stuff. So you're balancing the kind of critical stuff, voting with your heart, voting with your head, all that kind of stuff that you'll run into. Again, a few people in the chat are saying, I like Hook, but got to give it to The Color Purple.
Yep.
Similarly to Terminal, and weirdly enough to the Terminal Munich, I think you can rewatch Hook a bunch of times and have fun with it. You can rewatch Terminal and be like, oh yeah, great, that was fun romp. I'll watch that. When I watch Munich, I don't want to watch it for another 18 months.
Yeah.
I don't need to touch that.
Yeah.
I've been through that experience, and I feel the same way about these two movies. Like you said, Matt, there's such a tonal weird whiplash between these two. I think it's a very interesting bracket to be starting off with.
The Trek boy in me would like to address Josh Van der Sluis's comment. If you want to put it on screen, please, Jack.
I certainly can.
Color Purple 1985, Star Trek Next Generation 1987.
Correct, Matthew.
She pretty much got that role because of Color Purple.
That is correct. Yep. She was cast as Guinan because she is so fucking good in The Color Purple. Have you seen both of these movies? That is the question. I assume you have.
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Good.
I haven't seen The Color Purple in a long while.
I had the same experience. I had to rewatch it because I hadn't seen it in well over a decade. So yeah, this was one of my rewatches for this for sure.
Yeah.
Matt, I'm not even going to bother asking you. I know you've seen everything. But if you're new to us, listeners, Matt is essentially an encyclopedia of film and has seen basically anything we mention on the show. Matt has probably seen. There's been a couple of examples of very, very new films that I've seen before Matt has seen.
That's true.
Or shit that you're not interested in, like a David Arquette wrestling documentary.
Oh, no. I'm interested in that. I just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I know.
Horror's the one I tend to go,
Yeah, that's true. Like, I've seen Spiral from the Book of Saw, and you haven't, because I'm a Saw nerd. As we discussed on our Saw episode last season. So yeah, very interesting. We've seen them both, and Matthew, I believe you're first to vote.
I am first to vote. Although we're going to come back to when Spielberg does American history outside of World War II, he doesn't usually do it magnificently. He does it well, and he's obviously a very accomplished individual. The problem is, it's like, I feel like someone else could have told this story better. I don't know, this is based on a book, but having said that,
maybe like I don't know, just throwing out a director of color, just as a suggestion. I don't know.
Maybe I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
But having said that, it is some really standout performances. A very it's not like, contemporarily speaking, like 12 Years a Slave harrowing, but it is harrowing in its own right, and it is a very entertaining movie in its own right. Hook, I have a lot of really positive and fun nostalgia for, but The Color Purple is what I'm going for. Tim?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very similar. Like, I think Hook production value, like the production design for it is really interesting and great. A little bit dated now. But at the time, seeing it as a kid, it was like the coolest thing I'd ever seen. But yeah, I think when you've got two films and one of them's kind of been semi-disowned by the director, I'm gonna have to match my shirt and go for The Color Purple.
So it's a win, but Jack, if you could have voted, what would you go for?
I'm gonna have to go with my hand and go for Hook. No, I'm also going Color Purple. Don't worry.
Cool. And blink. Cool. Let's scroll ourselves down to E.T. the Extraterrestrial versus The Lost World Jurassic Park. Big fan. This is fine. This tonally fits in that it's, fucking terrifying shit and dinosaurs. Jack, do you want to give us a rundown of some numbers?
I certainly can. Bear with me. Extraterrestrial. Let me get that up there. Lovely. And Lost World. So I've got to search through all the bloody Rotten Tomato stuff here. As you can imagine, one of them is critically acclaimed. One of them is not. Surprise, surprise. 1982's E.T. the Extraterrestrial has one of the highest scores in Spielberg's career, and this is where we might get controversial. 98% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Fuck off.
We'll get into that, Matthew. And an audience score, perhaps more appropriately, of 72%. Then we move over to, of course, The Lost World, Jurassic Park, a film we've talked about because we fixed the Jurassic Park franchise way back when. From 1997, 15 years later, we are talking about 53% on the tomatometer and 51% on the audience score for The Lost World. So the critics and the audience think E.T. is the better movie. Matt, you're huddling in the corner because you think The Lost World is better because you hate E.T. And fun fact, ladies and gentlemen, not to put words in Matthew or even Mrs. Matthew's mouth, E.T. is fucking terrifying to a lot of people. And I know that Mrs. Stogden fucking hates E.T. and thinks he's terrifying. And I know that is a sentiment
in the chat as well who are terrified by E.T.
E.T. terrified me as a child and still terrifies me at 23.
Yeah,
exactly.
Screaming ball bag with a face.
Doing his little thing, and it's terrifying.
Okay, so
I found E.T. boring. I fucking hate E.T. That fucker is terrifying, but it's a better film than Lost World. Come on, it's E.T.
All fair.
E.T. is technically the better movie, but if I had to watch one, it would be Lost World. I didn't think that was good. Even as a child, I found E.T. boring. There we go.
E.T. spawned Mac and me, so you know. So
if I could do a Paul Rudd and cut to that clip right now, I wish I could.
Yeah, as it spawned Mac and me, but it also spawned Paul Rudd continually showing that clip from Mac and me. So it's
that's true. That's true. Okay, so just
load that clip into the back end. Quick
justification of my opinions here. So E.T. is 82, as Jack may have mentioned already, and Lost World is 1997. E.T. was in the earlier days, obviously, of Spielberg's career, and was in that very strange moment where aliens went from, oh no, they're evil, we should kill them all, to aliens are our friends. Now, that's not true for big things like, Aliens that then came out around the same sort of time. It's more for the fact that when you came to sort of like, family films, as it were, and animations and things, aliens were these cuddly friends, batteries not included, little cute things. It was not this thing to be terrified or scared of. It was a until the 90s and X-Files came along. But E.T. is a very functional... There are things from a directorial point of view I love. The fact that a lot of the film is shot from kid height. It is shot as if the children's perspective. I kind of love that idea. That just from a cinematography, that slight change that it's shot from a child's angle puts you in that mindset. It's great. The inquisitive nature of it, the amount of influence it's had on nostalgia and things like the Stranger Things and other bits and pieces that have sort of followed and come along.
The obvious one being Super 8 by J.J. Abrams, which we've talked about before.
Yeah.
And we've talked about how much we like that movie, the three of us as well.
Yeah. So there's lots going for it. And obviously, there are some weird bits that stand out now, like, that's kind of it. And then the puppet itself is fucking terrifying. There's been some adjustments.
Sorry. Whoa, hold on, Matt. The puppet is fucking That is exactly.
Yeah. It's just...
Can we have that on like the 30th anniversary?
Well, the
40th anniversary DVD.
Yeah, that's next year.
The puppet is fucking.
Yeah, they're doing their little whatever they are, like space horticulturists or some shit, and they're collecting samples, and then they're like, oh fuck, humans, and then they just abandon one of their own who may or may not be a child or whatever,
or Jesus.
Or Jesus. And then they
hold on. E.T. is the worst Jesus allegory ever filmed. I will die on this hill from Michael Lane. Thank you, Michael.
I feel Jack is going to start talking about Man of Steel again, so we'll move on.
Yeah, don't get me started on Jesus allegories.
But yes, E.T. is frankly a badly paced movie. And I know this is a thing to say because it's an older film, and I always correct that. It's like, but the year before we did Raiders, and Raiders is a fantastic movie and it's paced magnificently. E.T. is quite fucking dull. It's got a really, I think E.T., like with a lot of Spielberg stuff, is saved by John Williams. I think it becomes magical. It becomes, and the Amblin Entertainment logo, the riding the bike over the moon. There's lots of really cool stand, and oh my god, this microphone or this walkie-talkie that definitely isn't a shotgun. Fuck you, Spielberg. Yeah, I'm going to be very torn with this. I don't know, because the other one's fucking dinosaurs, and that's cool as shit. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, we've talked about The Lost World, as we said.
Yes.
It's not great.
It's very flawed.
It's very flawed. It does have some terrific sequences in it, though. I maintain that the sequence where the trailers are going off the cliff is like one of the tensest things that Spielberg's ever filmed. So it's tricky. I have a lot of nostalgia for E.T. It was one of those ones that was on a lot when I was a kid, and I still have affection for it. But I do think it has aged, and I haven't gone back and watched it recently, and I think I would find it, slow, oddly paced, and probably sort of out of date. But I think there's still a lot of brilliance in there. Like Matt said, the stuff of like filming it at child height to maintain that sense of the perspective on the world is very clever. So yeah,
yep.
It's a tricky one.
Also, Henry Thomas as Elliot. It's a really good performance. I don't know if anyone's heard of it. If you see it, go to YouTube and watch his audition tape, where he's basically talking to Spielberg and crying and saying, "No, he's my friend," and all that sort of stuff. And Spielberg it's one of those beautiful moments where you want to see in that kind of audition. He's just, "Kid, you got the part." And it's a really
stand up and clap.
It's a really cool thing to see, and he acts his ass off in that movie. So he does.
And
obviously launched Drew Barrymore. She's very cute.
Very young Drew Barrymore in there as well. Yeah,
there's a lot.
Which blew my mind discovering that like later on. Like, wait, the Charlie's Angels woman is also. Where is she? I didn't see her.
She in the ET model.
Yeah. Oh dear. Well, Tim, I believe you're up first for the vote.
Hopefully you guys can fix this for me, so don't worry about it.
Oof. I'm going to go E.T.
Oh, tough.
Yeah,
tough.
A tricky decision, but that's where I'm going.
A lot of people will see that this isn't. If you talk to somebody in like 1997, it's like, E.T.'s a classic, how dare you? But obviously, as time goes on...
Yeah.
Yeah. I am also going to go for E.T. the Extraterrestrial.
Okay.
I don't like it anymore.
Matt quits the show.
Mine is a lesser of two evils. I don't like E.T. very much. I rewatched it fairly recently, after having not seen it for like 20 years. But I have a lot of fucking problems with The Lost World. And I think the fact that we've done an episode on the Jurassic Park franchise means I've like really drilled down into The Lost World and thought about like, why don't I like The Lost World? And why don't I like Jurassic Park 3? There are so many problems in those fucking movies that I was like, nah, can't be doing this. And we'll talk about the first one a little bit later on. But yes, E.T. is my choice.
Incidentally, and this is going to sound so fucking like such a screeching U-turn, but I would have had to vote E.T. as well. I don't want to because I would, again, if I was given the choice of the two of them, I would watch Lost World. I own E.T. I don't need to watch it. But at the same time, I appreciate what it did for cinema, for his career. It's important. It's better. I get it. But fuck that little scream.
It's more significant than that.
Yeah. Fucking E.T. Yep. Oh, weird one. Weird 2000s time. Weird 2010s.
Spielberg in the end, the 2000s and the 2010s. So now getting on some other weird stuff.
Yeah, so 2011's The Adventures of Tintin and the unicorn fucking unicycle thing, whatever it was, and 2015's Bridge of Spies, written by the Coen brothers. A lot of people think Bridge of Spies is fantastic. A lot of people really champion Tintin. So I'm curious to see what the numbers are, Jack.
Well, 2011's Adventures of Tintin is a 74% with the critics and a 74% with the audience.
Oh. Really?
There you go. Yes. Higher is 2015's Bridge of Spies with a 90% on the tomatometer
yeah.
and an audience score of 87%. So the question is, do you like kind of boring Cold War but very well made, very well acted movies? Or do you want like a shit version of Hugo with all the like not as good CGI and not as interesting characters bouncing about on screen? That's essentially what it boils down to for me.
Yeah.
Very, very different movies. And I think we'll kind of condense his tone a little bit, but Spielberg has really had like a run of the gamut of the different tones of movies and different types, from out and out kids films to very deep, dark, interesting stuff to political thrillers to everything in between. It's a fascinating career he's had. And I think this and a couple of the other earlier brackets have really exemplified that.
I mean, okay, I'll be honest with you. The answer is clear for me.
Same here.
Yeah, because Tintin is
agreement.
interesting. Tintin is visually, I think, brings these characters to life in a sort of hyper realistic mocap kind of way. The voice performances were very good for a lot of it. The casting was great. Part of me just thought, just do it live action for God's sake. Would have been much easier, because nothing about the actual visual spectacle of it all really sold as me. It's like, oh, a Zemeckis movie. Oh, it's not Zemeckis. It's Spielberg.
Yeah.
Oh, well, this will be different. Oh no, it isn't. It's but it also went through so many writers and so many people.
It has that real like roller coaster element of a lot of the Zemeckis mocap stuff.
Yes,
where it's
yes,
like,
it does.
oh, we can like do these incredible long shots with the camera and have all this stuff going on. And it's like, I feel like you could have just like, you couldn't have done that, or it wouldn't have felt as realistic if you had done it live action. But you could have made a better film in other ways.
Yes, entirely. I agree with that.
Um,
And Bridge of Spies is again, it really brought Mark Rylance from the theatre to the screen, and he immediately won an Oscar for this performance, which I think is interesting because his performance is fine, but it's very, very subdued. And like, of all the supporting actors and things you gave it, I mean, again, I think Rylance is a very, very, very skilled talent. He's a good thespian, but he was mostly just, well, if you say so, okay, well, I guess I'll do this. And it's like, oh, great. And then that fucking face he's making there, that's all it is. And that's not saying it's not a performance, but it's like, And Tom Hanks again says something. I think there's a lot of positives to Bridge of Spies.
Tom Hanks once again.
But I don't think it's doing enough. But doing more than fucking Tintin. Doing more with Tintin with less. There we go. That's better.
I think we're back round to Jack voting.
It's Jack up first, yeah.
We are indeed. I'm going long and boring. I'm going Bridge of Spies.
Bridge of Spies. Tim, would you have gone any different?
Bridge of Spies, yep.
There we go, unanimous.
Tintin fans, it was here, and now it's gone. Oh, this is a weird one.
What a weird combination this is.
Aliens, both time. Weird alien films. Again, two very difficult films. So, Close Encounters of the Third Kind being a 1977 movie. Eat a dick, Star Wars, I guess.
Hello, Star Wars, yeah.
But very important and did a lot, and people know that dun 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 dun. That's sort of like,
boo, 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 boo.
Yeah, people know bits from it. AI was a collaborative work between Spielberg and Kubrick until Kubrick died, and then it became just a Spielberg movie.
And you can tell.
You can tell.
You can really tell.
Both have a lot of really standout bits and a lot of really ambitious moments, but both are horribly flawed for me. I've seen them, and I think they have their own place, but I don't think either of them is especially very good.
Agreed.
You guys.
I haven't seen Close Encounters in a while. It was one I wanted to rewatch for this and didn't get around to, but I have very fond memories of it. And yeah, it's weirdly, it's one of the few, as I've discussed on the show, people probably know, like, my parents don't really watch movies that often, and so I grew up without them kind of inflicting their taste on me for good or for ill. But Close Encounters of the Third Kind was one of the few films my dad was like, I really like this film. And so I have positive connections for it for that reason. And I remember enjoying it like as a probably not getting it entirely, but enjoying it as a kid. And I think when you consider the kind of we talked about like ET being part of this wave of like changing how aliens were perceived, and they'd previously been these kind of especially in the 50s and 60s, they're just this like terror from space. I think Close Encounters strikes this weird midway ground with them that's actually probably more interesting than just having them as either horrible or cuddly, where there's the encounter with them is kind of breeds this obsession with people. I think there's some interesting stuff going on there.
Yeah, and also this is Close Encounters is the first film that Spielberg made after Jaws. So Jaws was his big breakout, the first arguable first summer blockbuster, and then he came up with this, and people really enjoyed it from what I remember. And it had a really big impact, but it also suffers from that ET pacing where it's like, oh, I remember the colors and the ships and the special edition later has really load of cool stuff. It's like, do you remember the first hour of the movie and how nothing happens? Yeah, but and I will say this because it will be important for later when I might say AI. That nothing that happens is done in a very Spielbergian way. We talk about his tropes.
Yeah.
There's so many family scenes of people at a dinner table talking over each other, and it feels real. And it's like, wow, this almost feels almost like a documentary in a way, and how invasively we just like, turn up in someone's house rather than hey, Johnny, how was school? I did great, Dad. That's cool. I'm going to play with mashed potatoes now. That kind of thing. It's more just the all arguing. It feels like a real dynamic. So it's like that was a bit of a rarity in cinema, and he perfected that quite well. And that's very much a bit of his tropes. AI, however, is just busy. It's got so much going on, so many themes, so many layers, so many ideas, so many concepts, so many fucking terrifying visuals, and yet,
and a sexy robot Jude Law.
Gigolo Joe, is it?
What more could you ask for?
Yeah,
exactly.
So I think it's gonna be a clean sweep, but I just want to say that AI has a lot of positives to it that were never realized. But if you revisit it, you're like, yeah, this isn't good. There's not a lot I can say for this weirdness.
Yep. So, talking of the comparing the two films, we had a 1977. We have 94% on the tomatometer for Close Encounters and 85% for its audience score, compared to 2001's AI with 74% on the tomatometer and 64% on the audience score. So the critics and the audience, seemingly, not to tip our hand here, seem to agree with us that Close Encounters of a Third Kind is the choice here. Interestingly enough.
Yeah.
Matthew, I believe you're first.
Oh, it's me first, isn't it? Yeah. Close Encounters.
Yeah, I'm going with my nostalgia. I'm going Close Encounters.
Same here. My vote doesn't matter, but I'm going Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yeah, I think no one was going to be that. But that whole side is now. Let's have a quick look at that bracket. Although it would be very difficult to see because that's different. But that's full now. That's full.
Satisfying to see.
It is. How and also that if I'd have gamed this, war gamed it as well. I don't think I would have really seen some of these going through that way. So interesting. Right, let's get to the right hand side. Okay. Fucking hell.
Interesting stuff going on.
Zoom. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom against Lincoln.
What a weird combination.
Title.
Indiana Jones and the Temple of Lincoln.
So, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom is a very tricky one because it introduced the 12A rating, sorry, that's in the UK, the PG-13 rating in America because it was too fucking dark. It was
gory and evil.
Yeah, it's also a prequel to Raiders for reasons because George Lucas is gonna George Lucas.
I mean, it's mostly a prequel, I think, because they didn't want to wipe out the Marion relationship, but they still wanted to give him a different love interest.
Yes, and it's one of those things. It doesn't it doesn't mean anything until I remember the box that came out on VHS, and it's like, wait, chapter 34, 34, what the fuck is all this? Because he's trying to tie it into the young Indiana Jones.
Oh
shit.
yeah, that's
Is Indiana Jones 36?
Yeah,
fuck off, mate.
I was like, wait, and that really upset me because again, the classic, like I'm same thing. I'm sure a lot of you the same thing. Anyone who has physical copies of games or DVDs or anything like that, and the stuff doesn't line up in the shelf, and you're like. It's the same franchise, and it's like I don't like it goes 35, 34, 36 on this fucking thing, and I don't want to put Temple of Doom first because that's wrong. It doesn't matter in terms of the viewing of it. It's just another story. It's just another adventure, and that's fine. It's very problematic.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, all the cannibalistic Indians and stuff, because people of India are known for being cannibals and not like vegetarians and vegans and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's got a lot of shit, and it goes from one racist extreme to another at times. And that's, but the thing is, I'm not defending it. But when you're a kid, you don't notice it as much. You don't seem to really care. And then you get older and older, you go, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh god. But it is also quite fucking scary. And all the Indiana Jones films are scary in their own right, but this one is the scariest. But a lot of people have a lot of fondness for this movie. They really, really like it.
As our comments will attest to. John Scarrett, Doom, Doom, Doom. Josh Van der Sluis, Temple of Doom. Kieran Evans, Temple. To back up John Scarrett, it's got everything.
Too many things.
Minecarts, human sacrifice, bugs. What more could you want?
True.
Exactly.
He gets his
Even
hat
got
back on.
chilled monkey brains.
Chilled monkey brains.
Oh
Yeah.
So, moving away from that for a second, Lincoln.
Oh yeah.
I rewatched this. I think at the start of the year. Lincoln has a lot of positives, and it's one of those ones. It's like, huge part of American history for multiple reasons, and it's focusing on one specific aspect of it. It's not a full biopic; it's just one thing, and I think that was actually probably a smart thing to do from this side of it, and just make it it's the 13th Amendment, I think it is, being ratified in Congress. And
it is, yes.
And it's just about just trying to get this fucking thing through. It's like this is what this is about. This war is all about this. And it's like, well, I'll sign on, but only as long as the war ends, right? It's like, it's not about that. This is about getting this signed. And the politics is great. And Daniel Day-Lewis as Lincoln is this old man's like, I'm going to tell you a story. Well, you won't remember this, but there was an old Chesterman, and he used to have a cup of coffee. And the score comes in, and someone like Adam Driver will turn around and say, "Well, you'd understand, Mr. Lincoln." Oh, I guess I would. It's like, what the fuck is this? And it's fine. It's got a lot of really good stuff. The lighting is fucking amazing. The cinematography is really cool. The performance when Daniel Day-Lewis actually gets his wheels spinning and starts saying like, "I am clothed in immense power," and it's like it has good stuff. Tommy Lee Jones is good. James Spader's great.
A hugely stacked cast.
Yeah,
James Spader, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. It's absolutely ridiculous.
But as a story, I mean, Lee Pace screaming in Congress and I forgot his goddamn name now. Playing president on the $50 bill. God, this is a bad time to be awake.
No.
Yes, Ulysses Grant. That's correct. Yes,
Okay.
played by Jared
Harris.
Jesus, I got that.
It is anyway, Jared Harris. Yeah.
Thank you.
I fucking love Jared Harris.
Yeah, he's great.
You've got Walton fucking Goggins in this movie.
Yeah, everybody's in it. It's crazy, but it's long. And Sally Field's great in as well. But there's so much going on. You just keep going, oh god, oh god, oh god. So I think this is going to be a really tricky one in terms of which is the better movie. This is going to be a really difficult one, and I'm not up first for this one, am I?
No, it's me, I believe.
Good. You guys have seen them both. Right. I assume you have similar opinions.
Yeah, I think Temple of Doom has higher heights, but it also has much lower lows. I think Lincoln is
I can agree with that, Tim. Yeah.
Safe pair of
Lincoln,
hands.
Yeah. I would say it's just a much more mature a much more experienced filmmaker.
Mm.
But I mean, I don't have the nostalgia for Lincoln that I do for Temple of Doom, and it's got Short Round in it, who should have been the person who took over from Indiana Jones.
Agreed.
And a great
played
opening
by
sequence.
Shia LaBeouf, right? That guy.
Short Round Mutt.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to go Lincoln.
Well, Tim. Before you get into that,
he's already voted, but there's no stats. But I like it. I like it.
We'll get some stats.
Tim might change his mind.
This might change your mind, Tim. I don't think it will. But Tomatometer for Temple of Doom is 84, audience score of 81, and Lincoln, probably the closest scores we've had so far, 89 on the Tomatometer, with also 81% for an audience score. So they have the same audience score and a slightly higher critical score for Lincoln, which is probably what I'd about expect.
Yeah,
sure.
And you've picked Lincoln, Tim.
I have gone with Lincoln.
I disagree. I'll go Temple of Doom. Matthew Stockton, deciding vote.
Sake.
And I know for the three of us, you hate this the most. You hate the pressure. You hate making the decisions. And is it the better movie? Is it the one I enjoy the most? Oh, choose wisely.
Live or die, your choice. Thanks, Jack. Okay, let's just do this. I've got some reasoning. I remember this one. I had to do like the Blade Runner thing as well. When I was like Blade Runner, Alien. Blade Runner had like 5 chances to get right. Alien got 1.
Hold on. Before you move on.
Oh shit!
There's been a bit of dissent in the chat here. People arguing like, Lincoln, Temple of Doom, blah blah
blah.
Are
they kicking off?
Well, no. People may know him from the Discord as Pandrew, General Pandemonium. Wait a minute. Jesus fucking Christ. I'm afraid I haven't seen Lincoln. I'm getting confused with Abraham Lincoln.
I am clothed with immense power and this fucking axe, and I'll take out every vampire I see.
That was the trailer, wasn't it? I am clothed with immense power. And he reloads the shotgun.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Okay. Well,
anyway.
That aside.
Choose quickly, choose wisely, Matthew.
It's clean. Don't worry, it's clean.
Is
the
it
answer's
short?
Lincoln.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Do you want to know why the answer's Lincoln?
Sure.
Fuck you. No. It's Lincoln because we've already going to have 2 other Indiana Joneses, which are much better to debate later. You've got enough indie representation. Let's move the fuck on. That's my logic.
Fair.
Okay, let's get past this. Oh God.
Oh wow.
Empire of the Sun versus The Post. 2 films I think people won't have seen much of. No vampires.
This is one of the ones I haven't seen. I have not seen Empire of the Sun.
Oh,
and I've not seen The Post.
Fucking hell. Okay, so there we go. So Empire of the Sun, 1987, with if you can see him there, tiny Christian Bale.
Yeah,
tiny
little
Christian Bale.
Yeah, The Post is 2017 with Tom Hanks and Meryl Streep. Both are really good, really underrated Spielberg films. So I said previously about the whole Spielberg's. Some people say Munich is his best film. I think The Post changed that, to be honest. Bridge of Spies, it was good, but The Post is actually a genuinely good film. And Empire of the Sun is a good film as well. So just to run through, Empire of the Sun is about POWs, American World War II POWs in Japanese camp, and there's sort of this young boy who forms a bond with, kids who are going to often become Japanese kamikaze pilots and stuff. Classically, again, Spielberg's nostalgia and love for things Japanese, as it were. The Post came out in 2017, not even a year, months into Trump's presidency, where he was just saying, you're fake news. And it's about the Washington Post and the papers they had. I think it's Pentagon papers they had on Vietnam. It's
basically a prequel to All the President's Men.
Very much so, because it literally ends with the Watergate stuff. Yeah. And it's some really it's late 2010 Spielberg. It's got every motherfucker in it doing a great job. Bob Odenkirk is one of those unsung quiet little roles in it. There's
get well
so much.
Get well soon, Bob Odenkirk.
Yes,
by the way,
yeah.
I know he recently had a heart attack and stuff, and one of my favorite actors because he's just fantastic and everything. I know he was shooting Better Call Saul, which, if you haven't seen it, is one of the best TV shows of the last decade. Get well soon. Best wishes out to Bob Odenkirk. seems like he's all right from what we've heard now. So
It's a
fingers
hard
crossed
attack. So
for
he's going to have to keep an eye on
Yeah.
it, but still, yeah.
Yeah,
He
fingers
was great
crossed
in
for
Nobody,
it.
so I can't.
Yes,
surprised he pushed
yeah.
himself too much. Yeah,
That's a film that could have been shit, but he really carried it
It's
with
fun,
his
yeah.
charisma and his stuff. Yeah. Anyway,
So this thing. Do you want to give some numbers, Jack?
certainly 30 years apart, these movies, 87 and 2017. We'll start with 87, of course, 75% and 90% for Tomatometer and audience scores for Empire of the Sun. And then far more even, far closer together, 88 for the Tomatometer for the Post and 73 for the audience score for the Post. Interesting combination. So
Well, yeah, because
the audience score for Empire is higher, but the critical score for the Post is higher. So the audience and critics disagree on the decision between these two. And now we run into a problem if I haven't seen the Post and Tim hasn't seen Empire of the Sun.
So basically, it's just me and the viewers who have viewers is the correct word.
We're also getting the viewers saying, I haven't seen either of them. Oh,
God.
2 films I haven't seen.
Is this solely on me? Fucking hell. I mean, I can do it. I can do it. I can do it quickly if you want.
Yeah. But if you want to get your votes in, please do. Let us know.
Yeah, we'll see if anyone has seen it. They can say, I've seen it. I've seen both of these. I'm gonna say it's again. I say these are both good movies, as again statistically shows. It's just that people, when they say Spielberg, they're like, he's got such a big oeuvre, and there are a handful that get left out. Or like, oh yeah, I forgot about this one. These are those.
And some of them are more difficult to track down on streaming services.
This is
very much
true
nowadays.
This is true.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
definitely. We had Jonathan Firth Clark freaking out that I had pressed the 30-second countdown button. I hadn't. He accidentally reset the stream. We got more people saying, I haven't seen either one. I haven't seen either one. Can we have an F in the chat, please, for Jonathan Firth Clark? We're getting press F to pay respect for Jonathan Firth Clark and being an idiot.
Okay,
so yeah,
I'm
Empire of the Sun versus the Post. Nobody's seen it. Nobody's seen both of them. Most people haven't seen either of them. So it is down to you alone, Mr. Stogden, pretty much.
Right. Oh shit, there's a comment. Why did there have to be a comment? Lewis has voted as well, technically.
Well, there's people voting and saying, I haven't seen one. I vote for one because I haven't seen the other. Like, my vote goes for the Post because I've seen it, not seen Empire.
Yeah, but Lewis and Andy Steen have both seen them.
We do have a vote for Empire from Andy Steen.
And Lewis at the end of Empire of the Sun pips it.
Yeah.
So
there as well.
So if anything, that's 2 votes for Empire because my vote is going to be the Post.
Oh, interesting.
Do we go with the? Yeah, I guess we have to go with the audience.
Yes, go with the audience. So we get 2 votes.
Yeah.
Well
Lewis
done, folks.
Swift
Democracy
and
in
Andy
action.
Steen. Yeah, democracy at work.
I actually agree with the final scene with the saluting and the singing and it's a very somber
fantastic.
moment. It's brilliant, but also Post got a lot. It's Treep and Hanks, but yeah, fair. That's fine. The people have spoken. Empire goes through. Bump, and it will now win somehow. Oh fuck me. Jaws versus War of the World.
Easiest one so far?
Yeah, it is.
It's got to be the easiest one so far.
Let's get the stats out of the way first.
Yes,
the numbers.
let's get some stats. Bear
It's
with me.
It's literally
scroll all the way down
30 years
to
apart.
end Jaws. Yes, exactly right, Matthew. We've got 1975's Jaws, which in fact was the film we talked about in episode 1 of Sequelisers. The
OG.
first ever episode of the podcast was us fixing Jaws 2. So this, bringing it kind of full circle in many ways. And then, as correctly you stated, Matthew, 30 years later in 2005, the Tom Cruise vehicle, War of the Worlds. Start with Jaws. I mentioned a high score of 98% previously. We've got another one. It's 98% for Jaws with an audience score of 90. And War of the Worlds, unsurprisingly, not as high. 75 on the tomatometer, and here's the interesting one: audience score of 42.
Wow.
So the critics like War of the Worlds much more than the audience did.
Yeah.
Whereas Jaws is one of the most critically acclaimed and beloved movies ever made, and basically redefined cinema for the following 40 plus years. So
Ain't no War of the Worlds ride at Universal.
Exactly.
I'm gonna get out there really. Oh, sorry.
Jaws easily.
Oh yeah, people. Yeah.
Jaws. 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 And where's the one? Oh, here's and Jaws. I think it's safe to say people want to see Jaws go through.
Democracy is suspended. We're now going to put through War of the Worlds. No, I'm going to get this very quickly. So, as one of the critics who gave War of the Worlds a relatively decent score, I want to just jump in here because I'm going to chance to say it later. Because it ain't going any further than this. War of the Worlds started off as a brilliant film. The spectacle was all up with Jurassic Park. It was there. It was amazing. The tentacles seemed like the Raptors in the kitchen with Tim Robbins going crazy. The best part about this movie for me was that other than being shot really well, the score was good. It was quite haunting in how it was done. The thing was that Tom Cruise wasn't playing a Tom Cruise character. He was an asshole. He was a shit dad. And the character even says, you just want to take us back to mum because you don't know what to do and you're just going to drop us off and you haven't got a plan.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, fuck. Then the kid runs off and gets killed and he's just stuck with Dakota Fanning. And it's like, right, how are you going to resolve this script? Because that kid is right. You are just taken to the mum drive. And what if they're all dead? What are you going to do? The ending of this movie is going to be spectacular. It is going to be brilliant. And then you get to the end of the movie, and the problem is that in the original H.G. Wells book, it is about literally that microbes, the aliens could survive in our environment, and it was the small things that took out the big things. It was a very, very clever ending, but because of this dumbass ending, it made that ending feel stupid as well, even though it wasn't. It was actually, very intelligent.
It was also like revolutionary at the time because it was so clever. We're talking 100 fucking years ago when War of the Worlds was going out. Like,
yeah. And the thing is that Tom Cruise gets back and he's like, okay, here we are, the house. The aliens have been kind of defeated, but shit, what if they're all dead? And what if they're not dead? And I have to explain that our firstborn is dead because I couldn't keep on a leash because he's too much like me. He likes to run. And he opens the door and it's like
the grandparents, isn't it?
It's the grandparents and Eowyn from Lord of the Rings. Like they're like, oh, has something happened? Like they're having their fucking Sunday dinner. And he's like, oh, damn, yes. And out from the backs, it's Robbie or whatever the fucking kid's name is. His son's like, he got here too. Yes. It's like,
despite having run over a hill and then it explodes.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah.
So again,
you need explosions in Tom Cruise movies.
If it had ended well, it could have been one of Spielberg's best. I genuinely feel that because of all the themes it was going with. But because it just went and over. And it's like, well, I mean, fuck off, we're done.
We've got John Scarrett agreeing with you here, Matt. I like the initial act of War of the Worlds, but it kind of loses its way after that.
Entirely.
And again, Tom Cruise as an asshole is quite rare and fun. War of the Worlds has good bits, but the whole is less than the sum of its parts. Was half of a good movie. I love the book, but I hate the adaptation.
See?
And can you believe it? We actually have a vote for War of the Worlds over Jaws from Matty Beastie.
That's me.
97.
I was reading on my phone and go, oh yeah, War of the Worlds is great. Okay, but who's up first for the vote? Because I don't think
does it matter.
Well, good point. Good point, man. Good point. Moving on. No, I'm kidding.
Straight Jaws straight through.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just listen to Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds. Like that's.
I don't like that one either. To be fair. Sorry, I'm there. Anyway, look at these bastards.
Speaking of films that are miles apart and the tonal shift once again.
97's Amistad.
This might be worse than all the others.
Yeah. And Ready Player One from 2018. It's his most recent film, isn't it, technically?
Yes.
Fucking
yes, it
hell.
is. Yes, it is.
Amistad.
If
All I remember about
Steven
Amistad.
Spielberg drops dead tomorrow, God forbid he does.
Well,
Ready Player One will be his final
no,
movie.
no.
Well,
West Side
there's
Story's
stuff
done,
in
so
production. Yeah, West Side
Yeah.
Story basically is
but in
nearly
his
here, isn't
lifetime,
it? So-
certainly, yeah. No,
But still,
Amistad
Ready
is,
Player One
is
followed by West Side Story. Fucking hell.
a remake no one wanted.
Yeah.
With Ansel Elgort. Oh, great.
Yay, that guy. Ooh.
Right. So Amistad's another blip one. Have you guys seen both of these?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. So we see. Okay, another clean one. I like a lot of Amistad. I think again, it's one of those things like it's like, oh yeah, the story's you've done a fine job with it here. All the performances are great, except for Anthony Hopkins' accent he goes with for Adams. It's a bit of an interesting one. I can't even remember. It's like, yeah, up here, I'm doing an accent as a president. It's like, what the fuck is this? Can't take you seriously. It's a story of basically a mutiny on a slave ship, and then there's a legal battle about, do these people go back to Spain? Are they the property of Cuba? Do they go back to Africa? Are they American? What is it? And it's, this is obviously early 1800s, so before the Civil War. So it's a point of contention about, but it's all very a bit apologetic, in my opinion. It talks about the fact that there's not enough, like, it has that almost like the Green Book, where it has this apologetic ending saying, but it ended up okay. It's like, did it? Because slavery kind of carried on for another 50 fucking years, and even then it was still terrible for another 100 fucking years. Oh, and it's 2021, it's still terrible.
It feels a bit saccharine and a bit like, everything was, and they all lived happily ever after.
I think even more so than The Color Purple, this would have benefited from like having a director who was a person of color.
Yes,
actually
100%
taking control of this story, because it plays into a lot of like white savior kind of tropes. But then you've got Ready Player One, which is just a big pile of digital shit. So
anybody who knows me, I think I've talked about it on the show somewhere, but I've talked about it a lot online. And my initial oh cool, Ready Player One. That's the kind of novel that's written for a nerd like me. What could possibly go wrong? Oh, wait. And I'm going to ruin some people's days right now because I have to bring this up every single time.
Oh, God.
Google Nerd Porn Auteur by Ernest Cline, the author of the book Ready Player One and also the author of the sequel, Ready Player Two. It's one of the most misogynistic, neckbeardy incel pieces of writing I've ever experienced in my life. So much so that, and I won't go into details, somebody was talking about working with Ernest Cline, discovered this piece of work, and never worked with him. That's how bad this piece of work is.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's available on YouTube. He did live, spoken word readings of his poems.
This and from crowds,
and including his other classic, Airwolf is Airwolf, and I'm not making that up. He tried to make Airwolf a verb, as in a thing. Oh man, that's so Airwolf. And every stanza ends with Airwolf is Airwolf because he's clever. Yeah. If you do like Ernest Cline and think he's not too bad of a guy, go and read that and maybe rethink your opinion on the man. The film itself, how the fuck it was directed by Steven Spielberg, just upsets me. The fact that this was the thing that was who are we going to get to do Ready Player One? I'm I don't know. The book's a big mess of just references to the 1980s. Does it matter? Oh, we're just going to get one of the best directors ever. Wait, what? What are you talking about?
The worrying thing is that the film is substantially better than the book, and the film is still awful.
Yes.
Because the big difference between the two, and I have listened to the audiobook of the book and watched the film, the massive problem with the book is that it just becomes a list of stuff. And with a film, you can do visual references. You can have stuff going on in the background. And you can have the fucking Iron Giant punching a Gundam and all this kind of bullshit. And it being in the book, and it's an Iron Giant punched a Gundam. And then the Gundam moved over and punched a Godzilla. And then Godzilla fought King Kong for a bit. And then the Gundam swooped in again. And oh look, it's some of the Spartans from Halo. Look at those guys.
Cobra Commander yelled out for Cybertron, and we all rode away on Mighty Max.
And everybody was happy. Exactly.
I will say that the references in Ready Player One, because of the world building, makes more sense than the end basketball game in Space Jam: New Legacy, which has the same unfinished Iron Giant for some reason, because it's just recycling the same fucking stuff.
Sets. Yeah.
Basically, Ready Player One as a book is like, here's the obvious reference, but here's a niche one. And it's like, for example, in the book, it was going to be Mechagodzilla versus Ultraman. I'm a weeby nerd. I like Ultraman, but it's like, no, Gundam is a better, more recognizable property, and that's quite niche. We're talking about this. We shouldn't. Let's vote and move the fuck on.
I'll give one shout out as a podcaster, and I know a guy in our Discord who is very active, who has done some artwork for us as well. He did a fantastic Gundam and Godzilla emojis that are available on our Discord. Matt Nelson, fantastic guy. And Xenos gives a shout out here in one of the comments, actually. Commonly known as 372 Pages, a podcast called 372 Pages We'll Never Get Back, was spawned by Ready Player One, because that book is 372 pages long. And the two guys who have worked in screenwriting and cinema and TV and all this kind of stuff over the years, the two hosts, talk about how fucking terrible that book is and go through it chapter by chapter by chapter. They have then spawned an entire podcast of going through terrible movies, including the one that was written by E.L. James after she did 50 Shades that was just panned. And they are currently doing, of course, Ready Player 2. And it is some of the most horrible but brilliant podcasting I've heard in quite a few years. And I listen to a lot of podcasts. So shout out to the 372 Pages guys. At least Ready Player One spawned something good.
Yes.
To answer a question from earlier, very, very quickly, the reason this is Spielberg did this because no one else has the power to pull in those properties and the money behind it. To get
money.
Yeah. It's like, we need this. It's like, that's Universal, that's Paramount, that's Warner Brothers. These people don't talk to each other. But it's Spielberg, and we'll do him a favor. You have to be a powerhouse motherfucker to be just like, just give me the fucking rights to this one thing for 2 seconds. People will buy the merch because I'll be reminded of it, whatever it is. But anyway. Who's up first on the vote?
I've lost track, but I think it might be you.
Let's say it's me, and I'm saying Amistad.
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 We did it.
Nailed it.
Oh, fucking hell. All right. Cops versus soldiers.
This is the second of my two that I haven't seen, where I have not seen Warhorse.
Me too, Tim. Hey, there we go.
However, I would put in a strong word for Minority Report, because I think
I would guess
bloody brilliant.
I would guess even if I've seen Warhorse, I would still pick Minority Report, because I fucking love Minority Report.
I agree entirely. We actually don't need to discuss anything, but we will.
We will do. So 2002's Minority Report, of course, another Tom Cruise vehicle, has a 90% on the tomatometer. That is very high for a Philip K. Dick adaptation in terms of critical scores, which is nice to see. And an 80% on the audience score. And then over to Warhorse, which is 2011, 74% on the tomatometer, and also a 74% from the audience as well. So there you go.
Yeah,
critics think Minority Report. I'm guessing if I'd seen Warhorse, I'd still say Minority Report. Tim agrees with me. Matt, it sounds like you agree as well.
Yeah, Warhorse is actually a weird one. It's Michael Morpurgo, I think it is the author of the book it's based on. I remember looking in a bookstore and it was sort of being released, and it's fine. It's fine.
The stage play is meant to be fantastic.
That's my brother's seen it and sings its praises, and that's the thing. The stage play is a tour de force. That's a really
really famous what's the not animatronic but like puppeted horse that is marionette style puppeted horse that is apparently jaw-dropping to watch, because obviously the production team and the stage hands and stuff are absolutely incredible at what they do with those high production stage adaptations that you see, and apparently it is phenomenal. have no interest in seeing a film about a horse. I couldn't give less of a fuck. I saw Seabiscuit and thought, "Nah, I'm good, thanks."
Having said that, if there was an adaptation of the Burberry advert with Adam Driver as the centaur, would you watch it? The answer is yes.
In a flash.
In a flash. So yeah, Warhorse is a visually very. It's too colourful, too bright for me for a World War One film. It just feels a bit too. Again, it's trying to be that family, trying to walk the line of a family movie and a war movie. Does neither very well. I think it's just very much just down the road pap. Minority Report gave us a look at the future, and yeah, obviously a lot of it's like sci-fi from the future, cars on the side of roads and buildings, way. Yeah, sure, iRobot kind of shit. But a lot of it was very prescient, and
all of it's coming true. With more, the more totalitarian our governments get, the more realistic.
Just take away the gloves and just do this to enhance an image. Doing that, no, move that screen away. Sounds really stupid. That was like, wow, that's crazy. Obviously, still hologram, still see-through bullshit rather than actually on a black screen. But yeah, and also the idea that when you walk
has anybody else found themselves accidentally pinching and zooming on a screen that doesn't pinch and zoom? Because I've done that.
I've done it on paper once.
I'll just read this book. Hold on a sec.
Do the manual zoom. No, there's a bit where he's undercover with the fake eyes, and he goes through a shop and it scans his eyeballs and gives him a personalized greeting.
Yeah,
and I'm like, that's cookies. That's basically you being followed around, but it's not digital yet. It's Bluetooth. It's what we have in a different form. It's not as cool and fancy because technology.
It's not as cinematic. More important.
No, but it's there. It's closer, and I think the very very washed out, high contrast.
Think how many times a week you have to tick the "No, please don't personalize the ads to me" button, or "Yes, please allow all cookies" button. Every website, almost without fail, unless they've not done their job properly, will ask you to agree to cookies or ask to personalize ads or whatever it is. And as a person who works in SEO and digital marketing, there is so much money behind all of that stuff. Cookie tracking and seeing traffic flow through websites and user journeys and all this kind of stuff is so important. And yeah, like you said, Matt, we get a glimpse into not the future, it's the present. We get a glimpse into like 20 years later, which is now all of a sudden. And yeah, unsurprisingly, Philip K. Dick is right about a bunch of stuff again, because he wrote all these he's one of my absolute favorite authors. All these dystopian sci-fi novels and stuff, and predicting all this near future stuff in the 50s and 60s and 70s and going forward. And then loads of it's come true and it's not the good stuff. And we're like, oh no, we'll all have flying cars, right? No, but the police can read your minds. Like, oh, no.
Yeah, it's like, you were going to do a crime, weren't you? It's like, isn't this 1984? Fuck you. The issue is that it's also frustrating that, in predicting the future, science fiction inspires people. Like, we have sliding doors because people who grew up as engineers watch Star Trek when you go into like a shop, for example. And also you have people saying, hey, we know how to take all these ideas and steal them. It's like, how do you know? I learned from watching you.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think we should go to a public vote, even though we usually would, because I think it's going to be a clean sweep for Minority Report.
Minority Report.
Yeah, sorry, the public. Democracy is suspended. Your rights are unaffected.
We've had a few votes for it anyway, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Good.
We looked into the future and
we knew it was good.
We knew it would win.
Minority Report. Minority Report. Minority Report.
So I think Minority Report might be the dark horse coming through here. Actually,
not the war horse, but the dark horse.
The dark, desaturated horse of cinematography. But we only have 6 more films we'll do in detail. This now will start speedballing for those who've never attended one of these mock-ups, because once we got through everything, it's like, well, we already discussed our opinion. We already discussed this. Yeah. Now it's just these 2. Oh God.
Yeah.
We still have a few to
analyze. Less time, but the decisions get harder.
Yeah.
That is true. That is true.
And we're getting to the big boys, to say the least.
Fucking hell, look at it.
Hello, Schindler's List.
Schindler's List.
Dear.
Schindler's List, which I'm not going to spoil anything, but we brought this up on a Patreon exclusive episode that will be coming out very soon. I won't say anything other than that. Schindler's List, same year as fucking Jurassic Park, doing both these movies back to back.
He was editing and sorting out reels and stuff for Jurassic Park while filming Schindler's List. Literally on the set of Schindler's List, he is like, "Yep, scene 25 for Jurassic Park, ready to go. Sounds good. Thanks, editors." Unbelievable. Again, the tonal shift and I would argue, and we'll get to the stats in a second, 2 of his best movies, maybe even possibly his 2 best movies, according to many people. And again, we will decide this. But the fact that he did them almost literally at the same time, and with the tonal whiplash, which is something we talk about so much on the main show, where you get the first movie and then you get the sequel, and then it does some mad tonal whiplash. Like, they made the second one for kids. You're like, why? The first one was good because it had a mature outlook, and you clearly didn't understand what you liked about the first one.
It's crazy because, like, so often the accusation we level at Spielberg is like, oh, it's overly sentimental. Like, he can't keep a good grip on tone, and it always just ends up being too treacly. And yet he was working on both of these things and was able to balance that in his head of like, okay, this needs to be this needs to be that, and I need to, manage how I'm doing it, and pulled it off incredibly.
I'm sure that crept into, this is now a little too horrifying for kids with Jurassic Park. And this is nope. This is just still horrifying. You just elevating both. Schindler's List is a fucking masterpiece. It is painful.
I don't bandy that word around too much, but I agree. Yeah.
It's and the performances are stellar, and its choice to be in black and white with just two really sort of highlights color of a coat and
the
some
iconic
flames.
red coat.
Yeah. It's just. It's such a hard. It's about what's the best films to recommend getting Spielberg? Jurassic Park. What's the best film you probably should watch? I mean, Schindler's List. But how do you tell someone it's a Holocaust movie? It's dour. There's almost no levity. It's constantly miserable because it's the fucking Holocaust, man.
Yeah.
God.
Just to lighten the mood a little bit, Andy C suggests you want to see Schindler's List with the Muppets. The Muppets Schindler's List.
I mean, presumably you keep Liam Neeson as the one human in the film, and then
absolutely
everybody
you
else,
do. Yeah. Oscar Schindler.
Everybody, no, Oscar Schindler is played by Kermit, and you keep Ray Fiennes as Goethe. he's a guy. He's young. He loves women.
But Ray Fiennes is basically the human version of Sam the Eagle. So, like,
whoa! I like Sam the Eagle.
My
I don't think Sam the Eagle can be literally a Nazi eagle.
Great little quote here that I've also heard this story. Meatball Guy 1, brilliant username. There's a story of Spielberg talking to John Williams and asks him to do the score for Schindler's List. And Williams is like, you need to get someone else, mate. I can't do this. This is too much of a burden. Like, you've made a masterpiece and I can't do this. And Spielberg replied with, I would get someone else, but all the greatest composers are already dead. And you've all I've got left, John. And you're the best one. And I was like, I mean... John Williams is an all-time great, and we'll get onto some John Williams stuff. We've touched on him a couple of times with Close Encounters and E.T. and stuff.
Jaws.
When we talk about Jaws, we'll talk about Indiana Jones, we'll talk about Jurassic Park. Some of the most iconic film scores ever made.
And that's just John Spielberg, just the Star Wars stuff as
exactly,
well.
Ignoring all the stuff that John Williams did outside of Spielberg, just a combination of Williams and Spielberg is just absolute dynamite and a spectacular combination.
Yeah.
Anyway, Schindler's List, 1993. It's another 98% on the tomatometer. Apparently,
who's hating Schindler's List?
Right? Who watched Schindler's List and was like,
I mean, I assume
it's too black and white. It'd be neo-Nazis recording it. Yeah. 98% on the tomatometer with an audience of 97. Understandable. From more than 250,000 ratings in the audience score, it has 97%. I think, off the top of my head, that might be the highest audience score I've ever seen. Because I think Goodfellas was like 96 or something like that. So, yeah, It's a hell of
Rise of
a
Skywalker,
combination.
fucking high.
Yeah, too high.
Sorry,
the
yes.
opposite of review bombing or whatever that was.
Mm.
But yes, it's got to be Schindler's List, right?
Yeah, I assume we're all voting Schindler's List. Munich's a great movie in its own right, but it's Schindler's fucking List. Come on.
And Munich, in a way, feels like it's trying to capture the same kind of thing.
Recapture it,
as Schindler's
100%.
List, and it just isn't on the same level. Yeah, it's Schindler's List is my vote.
Let's move it through, boys, with the patented doop, doop, doop. There it is.
The patented doop-de-doop.
Doop-de-doop. The color purple ET. Right, we've done both of these, so we can talk about this quite quickly. Fuck ET. Fuck him in the face. Fuck him in his stupid ball back, screaming face. His glowing finger right up his asshole, and he can fuck off.
Also, the winner's going against Schindler's List. It doesn't matter. So,
I know, but but he can fuck off.
Oh god.
What about who's up first? Let's vote first. I think it's Jack.
Sure, I'll go first. Color purple.
Color purple.
Doesn't matter, but color purple.
Hey, there we go. Unanimously across.
Let's see how you fare. No. Right. Okay. A new one. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. The best Indiana Jones movie. Fuck you, everybody.
Interesting.
I like
Interesting
this one
you should say that, Matthew.
I do.
Well, The Last Crusade, 1989. As you can see there, the fantastic combination of Sean Connery and Harrison Ford. 88% on the tomatometer and a 94% on the audience score.
88?
Yeah.
Good God.
Mm.
Oh, that's
considering Temple of Doom is the one nobody likes, and that's 84%. There's really not that much difference.
No. I would like, as we always say about Rotten Tomatoes, it changed on a daily basis. Yada yada. A lot of contemporary people come through saying, "Well, actually, it's shit." Blah blah blah. It holds a candle against Crystal Skull because people are fucking idiots. But yes, I think because it becomes a buddy thing with his dad, it doesn't have the same air as Raiders. But unlike Raiders, which we'll get to later, there's more agency. So I feel like. Actually, no, I think if I'm actually thinking about it properly, don't worry about it. I was about to say that if this is one of the examples where Indiana Jones being in the movie changes the events of the movie. If he wasn't in it, he'd have to save the day. And no, they still would have done the exact same thing. They still would have lost. He's just a witness. Nothing would have changed.
Yeah.
That's the weird thing about Indy.
We've got a question again from Meatball Guy number 1. Remind me what CS, meaning Crystal Skull, I assume, score was again. Can you guys remember what the Rotten Tomatoes score for Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull?
Shifted slightly, probably 60% or something.
Tim, any ideas? Any guesses?
Yeah, I would say around that. Maybe creeping into 70.
Tim, you're closer. It's 78% on the tomatometer.
That's why 84 means nothing.
Right. So Crystal Skull is 6% behind Last Crusade. No, 10%.
10%.
Sorry. 6% behind Temple of Doom, 10% behind Last Crusade.
Bollocks.
Crystal Skull should be like 30 something. You can fuck off.
Yeah.
Terrible fucking movie, which we have fixed on the show. Go and listen to the Sequelisers episode if you want to hear us talk about that in much more detail.
Yeah.
But yes, back to The Last Crusade versus Bridge of Spies. Matt, I voted first last time. It's over to you. Is it obvious?
Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Okay, good.
Last Crusade.
Last Crusade for me as well. And unsurprisingly, the chat. Last Crusade. Indy, hands down.
Let's go see.
Last Crusade. A vote by proxy from our patron Stuart Main via Xenos Arkham, which is Stuart, asked that a vote in his name go towards The Last Crusade. So there you go. Problem solved.
I appreciate the comment that's just gone up on the screen. Oh, it's gone up twice.
Wisely, and you all chose wisely.
Wisely.
Yeah. So unfortunately, it wasn't Laurence Olivier in that role. It would have been really, really cool, but obviously he was not in any shape to do that shit at the time, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Right, let's talk about some big boy now. Big boy dinosaur.
Big boy dinosaurs. We already talked about Close Encounters, so let's go to, like we said with Schindler's List, a 1993 Jurassic Park with a 92% on the tomatometer and a 91% on the audience score. Very high scores, very close scores. And I think a very easy vote, personally, but...
Whip this shit through.
Yeah.
I believe I'm first this time, and as much as I have some nostalgia for Close Encounters, and I think it's got great moments, it's no Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park's a masterpiece.
This should be easy. Jurassic Park next. Jurassic Park, hold on. Jurassic Park to the finals. JP, just JP. Jurassic Park. We spared no expense to make this go head to head with Schmimblib List. Schmimblib List. And a vote from Emma Jane Stockton. No,
that's
not
my
wrong
wife.
one. That's not your wife. That's Canis.
Sorry, Canis.
Here's your wife. Jurassic Park will win this entire thing.
Thanks, Em.
End of. Good vote, Emma Jane. Good vote.
Yeah.
That T-Rex is letting out a yell of triumph. It is indeed. Also, dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs.
Dun,
Dun. One of the best film scores ever.
Yeah.
Jurassic fucking Park.
Especially when played on melodica.
Let's put that fucker through.
Welcome to Park. It's still one of my favorite memes.
So again, we've done this entire side except for some nasty stuff at the end. That gets so much harder. I'm not gonna look at that because it gets me uncomfortable. Let's get back to the top. I'm not thinking about that for a minute because that's gonna make me sad. Saving Private Ryan versus Lincoln.
I rewatched Saving Private Ryan recently. That was one of the ones I managed to rewatch. And holy shit, that film is good.
It really is. It's people's. I know, like The Longest Day is a phenomenal World War II film and very important because of its made close to the time and things. I know this still has a lot of inaccuracies because of its gone style over substance with certain things. Fuck me if it's good. God, it's so much tropes and problems. Like, it's a Spielberg movie, so when it gets really bad, don't worry, it just ends. Yay! And it's got this hokey old man bullshit.
The face morph, the meme that I have used a million times. When somebody says like, "Oh, Jack, I can't believe you're 30. That's so old," and I just do Matt Damon going, "Whoa," just shifting into the old man.
Tell me I'm a good man. Also, it's Born Band of Brothers, which is one of the best mini-series experiences. Especially
Band of Brothers is a fucking masterpiece, and also underrated is its sequel, The Pacific.
Yeah,
Pacific is fucking brilliant as well. Not quite as good, but Band of Brothers is like, I would argue, one of the best things that's ever been put on TV. So
Also, Jack has written a comic about the D-Day line.
I have literally written a 300-page graphic novel about D-Day.
372 pages. I'm kidding.
I think it was 321 in the end or something like that. But yes, funny enough, that's when I rewatched Saving Private Ryan because I was like, I haven't seen that in a while, and I watched Longest Day and a bunch of documentaries. As you know, I'm a nerd for research and stuff, so I just had piles of books. Funnily enough, just off shot here is where I had my piles of books because this is the desk I was writing the comic at and stuff. So yeah, I love Saving Private Ryan. I think it's another masterpiece of Steven Spielberg's, and funnily enough, the critics and audience agree once again. 1998's Saving Private Ryan has a 93% from the tomatometer and a 95% from the audience.
Yeah.
It deserves it. It's a masterpiece.
It's got every motherfucker in it. It's like, tell me some Saving Private Ryan.
Same with Band of Brothers as well.
That launched careers. Yeah. It's when you say like, who's in?
Is that Andrew Garfield? Is that? Oh my god! Like, it's everybody in this thing.
It's because like, name me a Saving Private Ryan actor. Oh, you mean like Tom Hanks and Matt Damon? Matt Damon's like, no. I mean shit like Nathan Fillion,
Vin Diesel,
and Vin Diesel and Paul Giamatti.
Vincent
like, wait,
Diesel
what?
is in that movie.
It relaunched Ted Danson's career.
It did.
Like,
so crazy. It's so crazy, and yet
Mad.
so very good. So Lincoln's great, got a lot of stuff going for it. But look where we are, back to one of these top 6 again, going, which is fucking irrelevant now.
Saving Private Ryan. Saving
yeah.
Private Ryan. Ryan. SPR. Saving Private Ryan. Yeah. Saving Private Ryan.
Yep.
But it's
That's a considerable vote from the chat.
And we love.
I said from the chat.
Yeah.
From the chat.
No, I know. I'm being facetious. Yeah. It's Jack first. I keep losing track of this shit.
so.
I'm so lost in it.
Saving Private Ryan. Easily.
Saving Private Ryan.
Yep. Saving Private Ryan.
But it didn't win Best Picture because that went to Shakespeare in Love. And everyone went, wait, what?
Yeah, what?
I mean,
funny enough, I've also got
the
the list of Academy Award nominations and wins per movie for Mr. Spielberg as well, which they handily put on his Wikipedia
Should we save
page.
it for the final 8, as it were, so we can see like.
Sure. We'll run through that.
Bit of validity there. I think that'd be good. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
There it is.
There we go. Saving Private Ryan through to the next round.
Empire Jaws. You guys haven't seen Empire.
I've seen Empire.
Sorry.
Yes,
Seen
the post. Thank you very much.
My apologies. My apologies.
Thank you.
This is a tricky one.
Fuck off.
Jaws is fine.
Oh wow, Matthew.
Jaws is fine.
Wow.
There's a lot of really good stuff in Jaws. I'm not gonna vote Empire of the Sun. Don't get all creepy or everybody. But
don't tip your hand if you're gonna go on a tirade about Jaws.
I just think Jaws is very much of its time, and if you try and show it to people, they I mean, it's
another bunch of films that are of its time. And
I know.
You're the one I usually argue with, where I'm like, yeah, it didn't age well. I was like, yeah, but it was really good for the time, though, Jack. You need to understand where cinema was at the time. And now you're using the opposite of that.
I'm a mercurial motherfucker. I just told you, I shifted it up. No, So in terms of which is a better movie, this is where it gets become the trickier thing, because again, there's some standout scenes in Jaws, but Empire of the Sun is everything. But I would vote for the post. It's irrelevant anyway. But no, it's me first voting. Fuck.
Yeah, it is. That's why we came to you.
Fine.
Vote,
Jaws.
motherfucker.
Just Jaws.
Tim hasn't seen Empire. It goes to me. Jaws goes through.
Shark Boy. And Lava Girl.
Jaws. You may move on now. I vote Richard Keel. I always vote Richard Keel. Andy Steen was about to storm out if you voted for Empire, Matthew.
Whatever.
Yeah.
You all love fish. Fuck you. All right, okay. Raiders. The other best indie film.
Yeah. This is our... Oh, no, it's not quite our last of the...
Almost. The other one that you wouldn't expect to be one of the top 6. 1981's Raiders of the Lost Ark, not Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, I hasten to add, is 95% on the Tomatometer and 96% on the audience score. It is, in fact, thank God, the highest rated of the Indiana Jones movies, and is not, thankfully, much higher. It is much higher than Crystal Skull.
I'm still okay with that. I know I think the other one's better, and I enjoy it a lot more. It's my preferred one, but Raiders is still fucking Raiders. It's still like such an amazing adventure film, and a throwback to serial films. Just fucking great. Wonderful.
Unsurprisingly, we're getting votes already. Raiders. Nazis in Egypt. Raiders for sure. Unsurprisingly from the chat, Raiders has it.
We'll get there quickly. Like, Amistad got through because it was against Ready Player One. I think there was a bunch of other first round picks it could have lost to. And
that's true.
This is fucking Raiders. So yeah, Raiders.
You want to get that as a tattoo, Tim. This is fucking Raiders. Right
now. Jack?
Tough one. Raiders.
I would have voted Empire of the Sun.
Good question from Andy Steen here. Wrong one again. Jack, did you see this first? Or The Simpsons nod to it, and Bart still Homer's manager. And Homer rolls down the stairs.
Yeah.
I actually maybe saw Indiana Jones first. I think. I can't remember. I would think I saw Raiders first. But yeah, there's definitely no the as you know, for those of you viewers who are new to us, I experienced a lot of pop culture through The Simpsons in my early years. I was born in 1990 and basically watched every episode of The Simpsons until like 2010, probably, for like 20 years straight, pretty much. The first like 20 seasons. And yeah, I absorbed much pop culture references through The Simpsons that I still don't know are references today. And then we'll talk about a film on Sequelisers, and I'll be like, oh, right, that's what that... I wondered why Homer did that in 1997. That makes a lot of sense. So yeah.
This might be our toughest choice so far.
I might agree with you.
For some people.
Well, let's touch on Catch Me If You Can, because I think this is the dark horse of the entire thing, because I didn't expect it to be in the top 6. I'm not going to lie. I thought Jaws for sure was going to be in the top 6 here.
Yeah.
When in fact, Catch Me If You Can, from 2002, of course, starring the ever charming Leonardo DiCaprio, has a 96% on the tomatometer. That's how highly rated it is. Ever so slightly lower at 89 with the audience score as well. But there's a reason it's, up there with the big boys, punching high in the top 6.
Yeah. Leo and Tom Hanks.
And Tom Hanks. What more could you want?
Doing a really good, it's him slightly tamping down on his likability in that film. I think, a lot of times Tom Hanks just kind of cruises by on being Tom Hanks. But I feel like Spielberg actually gets a really good performance out of him in Catch Me If You Can.
I watched this very, very recently with my wife, primarily because after we seeded this, we thought, what the fuck? Catch Me If You Can. I mean, I remember enjoying this, but what the hell? So I watched it again.
I did the same thing.
Yeah. And it's amazing how much we remember the sort of like, oh, will he get him? He's kind of basically remember the title sequence, the image of like he's just on his tail, he just gets away, and he talks his way out of it so well. And it's this kid who was in Titanic a couple of years before. It's like, oh, he's gonna be a star. Tom Hanks is America's dad. Oh, it's fucking amazing. But it's actually quite dark. There's a lot of really miserable shit in this movie. Christopher Walken being really interesting as a stand-up performance. There's a lot going on with it. I don't know if it holds up in the same way.
Fell into a vat of milk.
Cream. Yeah. Which one am I? It's like, okay, weird, but it's okay. I do get what you're saying, because I know he's saying that it will be a tricky one to gauge, because these are the early 2000s where Spielberg's career was going, and again, these two are the exact same fucking year again. He's done a what you call it,
a 93, if you will.
Yes, and a 97, and a 2005, and 2011.
He's a busy boy, old Steve.
Yeah, he does a lot. The point is, these two came out in the same year, so it's like, again, the tonal whiplash of these two back, and they couldn't look more different, but they both have really good cinematography. So there's so much going for them.
Great scores for both.
Yeah, oh god, yeah,
absolutely. Yep.
Like the 60s kind of Catch Me If You Can, just the jazzy,
the jazz to it,
yeah, it's so good.
It's me up first, isn't it?
It is.
I'm going to vote Minority Report.
I thought you would. The fact that you paused told me Minority Report.
I like Catch Me If You Can. I don't know why it's this high. I know people go, oh, I really like it. But you like it
very
more
interesting,
than other
I think
things.
that's very interesting. Tim, you strike me as a man who loves Catch Me If You Can. I don't know why.
I do love Catch Me If You Can. I think it's
great. It's a Tim-ass film.
I
don't know what that means, but that's what it is.
I love a story of a con or a grifter,
Tim,
maybe that's what it is.
Always,
it's a heist, but
entertaining.
energy.
The sweet honesty of Tim Matum is balanced out by his love of heists and grifters.
Yeah. Yeah. This is a really difficult decision, though, because I really love Minority Report as well. And in fact, I'm going to go for Minority Report.
Not even off the starting block.
Holy shit. Holy shit.
Jack, would you have changed up, or what would you have done?
It's a clean sweep for Minority Report.
Oh, it is a dark horse.
The upset of the century.
Oh, Tom Cruise knew all along.
Holy
we now
shit.
have our top.
Jesus, that was unexpected.
Who could have seen it coming? Only the precogs.
Hey, there we go.
Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Fucking
good comment
hell,
by Michael Lane in the chat. Minority Report remains topical. Catch Me If You Can feels nostalgic. Yeah.
Interesting. Very, very interesting.
Very good point. Very good point.
Poignant.
Now we've talked about everything. It's just the decisions, except these decisions are very hard.
Yeah.
Quarterfinals now. The final 8.
Yeah. And we're at the 2-hour mark, so.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Let's get cracking. Let's get stuck in.
Let's reassess the terminal. I mean, it's still, we can bring it back.
Guys, is Ready Player One really? I feel like it belongs in the quarterfinals.
Do you not remember the bit where it did the little sting from, Back to the Future because of the Rubik's Cube? Oh my God, guys, we've completely we fucked this thing. Reset.
Yeah. Tim, over to you for the vote on this one. Schindler's List versus The Color Purple.
I think, obviously both Spielberg dealing with very weighty topics, but as we said in the first round, Color Purple is great performance in it, but it doesn't feel like it's his story to tell, whereas Schindler's List is obviously something that's so personal to him being a Jewish filmmaker.
Yeah.
And it's him kind of at the height of his powers. So, my vote is for Schindler's List. But people should if people haven't seen The Color Purple, they should definitely track it down.
That's very, very, very good point. It is a great movie.
I echo everything you just said, Tim. 100%. Schindler's List goes through, but you should go and watch The Color Purple because it's one. I think it's probably one of the ones people will be coming into this and saying, "Oh, that's the Whoopi Goldberg one, right? I didn't know Spielberg did that," or "I've never heard of that," or "Oh, I've heard of it but not seen it." It's one of those ones,
or
and
heard
it
of the
deserves
book
your
and
attention.
didn't realise that there was a film version of it.
Exactly. Yeah, go and check it out.
Again, not that it's worth it. I would have done exactly the same. It said exactly the same as Tim and Jack. I concur entirely. Now we got Nazis versus dinosaurs.
As God intended, man.
As was always the way.
It's like Wolfenstein and this shit. That's what we need in our lives.
Yeah.
T-Rex versus Mecha Hitler.
It's Jack first.
It is, unsurprisingly, for anybody who knows me, Jurassic Park. Matthew.
Yeah.
A few votes for Jurassic Park here in the chat. Jurassic Park should win this. Last Crusade pick from Jonathan Firth Clark. I would actually go Jurassic Park. Indy, because Godzilla does it better than Rex from Michael Lane. Tugging on Matthew's heartstrings there, I think.
Oh, dare you.
Last Crusade from Kieran.
It's very divided, isn't
from
it?
Philip Morgan. Last Crusade just takes it. Last Crusade for me as well. It's very divided in the chat. Very divided indeed.
I think nostalgia and stuff plays a huge part, but yeah.
Matthew.
Yeah. Jurassic Park.
Tim, what would you have gone for?
Yeah, I would have gone Jurassic Park as well.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
That movie is flawless.
Maybe the hottest take here. They're equally okay.
John, get out.
John, you've been a very bad John.
Stop making me question my love for you.
Yeah. We love you, but very bad John.
Yep.
Again,
it's me up first, is it?
Popular choices, I think, from a lot of people. It is up to you first, Matthew. I think a lot of people will be very divided on this. I think
these will be
weirdly comparable in my mind.
Yes,
there's a lot of you could almost compare a lot of the conversations in Saving Private Ryan to the three main characters in Jaws on the boat.
There's
a lot of that male bonding under duress.
Yes. out on their own, in isolated, surrounded, literally surrounded by enemy as well.
Yep.
Yeah, I get that. Fuck that fish. Same Private Ryan. Sorry, Bruce.
I rewatched Jaws recently, and it's so good. And for it to be one of his earliest films is incredible.
That's true. The man was already.
And
Hold on.
Fucking
Nearly
love Richard Dreyfuss.
Nearly 50 years old.
Yeah.
Jaws. Jesus Christ.
But Saving Private Ryan is a better film. I'm gonna vote for Saving Private Ryan as well.
Nice. And we would have gotten a clean sweep, ladies and gentlemen. Saving Private Ryan.
Let's
We're
take a
getting
moment.
votes. We're getting again.
Angry.
Split in the chat. SPR. Shark Eats Damon. Saving Private Ryan.
Temple Doom got through somehow.
Jaws for me easily.
Oh,
the shark still looks fake.
But
Jaws
so did
weirdly
Damon.
has characters I find more interesting. Jaws, there's a reason it was the first movie you did a podcast for. Oh, interesting.
That's because Saving Private Ryan didn't have a sequel.
Yes,
It did.
It was
Band of
called
Brothers.
Band of Brothers, yeah.
And it was fucking
And it was
amazing.
magnificent. Yeah, I get it.
Raiders versus Minority Report. Very interesting combination. And we're down to you, Tim Matum, for your pick.
Oh man, this is like again.
This is
very
trickier than it
difficult.
should be, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
I don't want to be like, well, obviously it's Raiders, but I'm like, Minority Report is great.
I'm such a Philip K. Dick nerd. I fucking love Minority Report. Yeah.
Again, it's that
You
comment
know me
earlier
with
about
my lust for intellectual sci-fi. It's just
lust.
And it is.
Love
It's
forward, looking backwards thing again.
exactly. Yeah. I was just gonna say, like Raiders is Spielberg looking to his past. It's it's him and George Lucas looking back at the adventure serials and saying, let's make some of those.
We're getting a lot of Raiders love in the chat. Raiders.
Unsurprising.
Raiders has to be fucking Minority Report. I mean, it has to, right? Raiders.
I will say this that might change.
Raiders is Raiders.
The problem is in the book, the way that
It's
Minority
going to
Report,
be Minority Report again, isn't it? Oh, God.
the way it ends is that he's like, oh, but what's my my Minority Report? What's my file that says it wasn't actually true? Where is it? And it's like, there isn't one. You killed him because this guy killed your son.
Yep.
And the book that's a really like, oh God, that's such a rug pull. But Spielberg don't do that. He has a happy ending. And I think that makes the story, fleshes out nicely, but it robs it a bit of impact, I think. But again, Tom Cruise can't be the villain, not really. So they just axe Colin Farrell.
Tim, to
I'm
quote Javier Bardem from No Country for Old Men, call it.
gonna call it, and I'm gonna say Cruise put up a good fight, but Indy has my heart. So my vote is Raiders.
This is definitely a heart versus head one for me as well. This is the nostalgia of my childhood versus the sci-fi loving adult in me.
Well, it's still your childhood because it was 20 years ago. Minority Report is an old film.
Yeah, I don't think I saw it when I was 12.
Oh
though,
no!
bear
But
in mind.
I mean that we keep thinking, oh, Minority Report, that's quite recent. No, it ain't.
Yeah.
That's not that's against you.
It's this century. How about that?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, of course.
I'm pretty sure Tom Cruise was still married to Nicole Kidman when it came out. So
Yeah.
Damn.
And looks basically the same then as he does now. So
Yeah, essentially.
that's all that special thetan juice or whatever the hell they do in the Scientologists. Anyway,
Yes,
Raiders for me, please.
I would have done the same. I think as much as I'd like Minority Report, it's like with Kingdom Heaven in the Ridley Scott one. It's like I like it. I'd like to see it go further, but it can't go up against Raiders. Minority Report can swivel its sword at it likes. Bang. Raiders.
Yeah.
Yep.
And now Ready Player One, as we knew, would just sneak its way in.
So
There
we're
it
down
is.
to a final four.
Unsurprisingly,
Final four.
it's the 4 highest movies.
It is. It is.
Jack, do you want to take us through the Oscar stuff now? I feel like this is
yes,
the point
sure. If you
for
could
it.
zoom in for me, please, Matthew. We'll look at Schindler's List with
It's awful
the
on screen.
alongside Lincoln. Schindler's List has the most Academy nominations of any of Spielberg's work, with 12 nominations.
Not surprising.
It also has won the most, again, unsurprisingly, with 7 wins at the Oscars, versus Jurassic Park, which is also reasonably well nominated. Nominated for 3 and won 3. So it's got 100. It's fewer numbers, but 100% success rate.
Yeah,
So
I'd imagine it swept the technical kind of stuff.
exactly.
Effects.
Yeah. Effects and all that kind of stuff.
Sound
No one was
mixing.
giving Sam Neill an Oscar for some reason, unfortunately.
Oh, he should have done.
Yeah, he liked his dinosaurs.
All that
Damn, Laura Dern.
shaking of the electric fence and Laura Dern kicking ass. Exactly.
Yeah.
That run where she has a limp for some reason, best bit.
The door. It was painful.
Yep.
I also think isn't Jurassic Park Spielberg's highest grossing movie? Therefore, his most successful movie by money terms.
I believe it is. Yes, let me get that stat up for you.
I think even just inflation because it was a release
made on a budget of $63 million.
Which was unheard of at the time.
Just over $1 billion. Yeah, it's a lot of money.
Fucking hell, it's gonna be hard, man.
Yeah, we're
not even at the final.
Interesting comment from Michael Lane here in the chat. Only one of the films is not a World War II movie. I hadn't thought about that.
Yes,
but you fucking nailed it.
Yeah, it's true.
How weird.
Spielberg all over.
Yeah, it is.
Oh god.
Very tough choices. In my heart, I want it to be Jurassic Park versus Raiders, but I wonder if it has to be Schindler's List versus Saving Private Ryan. Oh my god!
It's the tonal stuff, isn't it? It's again, do we go for what is more entertaining or more entertaining in a different way? It's fuck. Let's just fucking. Oh god.
John Scarrett's calling for the crossover. In the future, someone will find Nazi DNA in Amber. Nazi DNA.
Mixed with the coat of a frog, which is most Nazis anyway. Right. Who's up first?
It's Jack, I am, I think.
Yeah, because I was out of Minority Report 1.
It's the Battle of 1993. It's the battle of, I would argue, 2 of the best films.
There's no right answer for this.
Ever made. 2 of Spielberg's best, which is also 2 of cinema's best, I would argue. The 2 best films of 1993. I have to go with my heart. I'm going with Jurassic Park. Matt Stogden, don't go on some fucking dilly-dally bullshit tirade. I want it down the fucking line, the straight and narrow. Give me your answer, Mr. Stogden. In 3, 2, 1. You're still saying.
It's Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park goes through. Tim, how you feeling?
Yeah,
what would you?
I would have said I don't wander around the house singing the theme from Schindler's List. I do wander around the house singing the theme from Jurassic Park.
Doing the dishes like you're a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Oh my god, man. That was not.
I mean, we always say it. Once we get to this point, like, I would
if
say
you haven't seen any of these 4, go and watch all of them right now.
And even further back, like, these are all fantastic films. You know.
Yeah, damn right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Agreed.
It's Tim. No. Oh, it's me.
It's you.
Fuck.
Bold, Matthew. Bold.
All right. I've reasoned it in my head.
Okay.
It's Raiders.
Ooh.
Because Saving Private Ryan is amazing, but it needs the space to be done better, i.e. Band of Brothers. I'm leaving it at that. Tim, your turn. Fuck me.
Yeah, it's Raiders.
Heart was beaten. Holy shit.
We didn't go with the serious ones. Fuck. Jack, what would you have done?
I would have gone Saving Private Ryan, actually. Funnily enough.
I get that.
Yeah.
We had fairly definitive in the chat. Raiders. Matt, you're getting credit for your logic there as well.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
The brackets have cemented Jurassic Park for the win. Interesting. We're getting some picks in now. Jurassic Park versus Saving Private Ryan. Tom Hanks has to cross dinosaur-infested France to rescue Matt. Yes, the big finale.
Tim up first?
Oh yeah, it is.
This means I might not be involved.
Oh, this is very difficult.
Indiana Jones and the Raptors of the Lost Ark.
I'm going to say
And
this right
Ark.
now.
Ark is ARK, as in the video game with the dinosaurs and stuff.
Yeah.
I see what you're doing there, Xenos. I appreciate
And
that.
Schindler's Ark. It's a reference to come back to Schindler's List.
Yeah.
Um,
I feel like the exact halfway point between these is Turok.
Yes.
Good God, it is. Yeah. I'm going to say this right now because I might not have to do this. This decision is actually a lot easier for me.
Oh,
The
interesting.
final four were like, oh, fuck, I can't get it. These two, less so.
Got a few picks around here.
But I might not
Open
be
the
involved.
door. Get on the floor. Everybody walk the dinosaur.
I said at the beginning of this, Raiders is my favourite, but I think Jurassic Park is going to win.
Spielberg for Turok. Let's hashtag that shit. We start the campaign tonight, listeners and viewers.
Maybe 90s Spielberg. I don't think I want to see 2010s Ready Player One Spielberg doing Turok.
Yeah.
So
I said at the beginning, Raiders is my favourite, but Jurassic Park I think would win. So I feel like I have to be honest to that. And here we are at the final. I'm voting for Raiders.
Oh the upset!
God, that's tense. That's tense.
Jack, it's you.
Jurassic Park.
Are you bastard?
Matthew, come back on camera. Come on. Hold on.
I mean, I
face your audience.
I don't want to do it.
Hold on. We'll just be solo Matt. Can I solo Matt? No, I can't solo Matt.
Okay.
Good. Because it's just
oh yes, I can.
Shrink-wrapped tears.
There you go, Matt. You got to make your decision all by yourself.
Oh,
just
by myself. Right.
It's down to you.
Jurassic Park.
Goodbye. Yeah, Jurassic Park.
Oh my God.
It's official, ladies and gentlemen.
9-year-old me is going, of course it is!
5-year-old me is being, fuck yeah, because that's what 5-year-old me was like.
My wife has nailed it in the comments.
Dinosaurs, innit?
It's dinosaurs, isn't it?
Dinosaurs, innit? Yeah, I'm
Well
sorry.
said,
I mean, for Raiders fans, I get it. Raiders is important. Raiders is good. Harrison Ford's amazing, and it's still a film I really love. And it's the same with all these movies. There's so many really strong contenders. But Jurassic fucking Park, I will put that movie on any day of the week and have the best fucking time.
Yeah.
25 odd years later.
I will say this, even though I voted for Raiders, Raiders is increasingly showing its age, whereas I like Jurassic Park will obviously be a product of its time to a certain degree, because there'll be points where people are being like, why aren't they just on their mobile phones talking to each other? It's like, because they weren't fucking mobile phones.
Yeah.
But I think Jurassic Park, we've already seen like the special effects like still hold up after 30 years of digital development and stuff like that. I think but
it's the Ryan Livermore, for those who know of him, had a really astute point whereby when you're a kid,
from Bartians and various other things.
Yes, and Super Happy Kill Time. Basically, he was saying to me, because he adores Jurassic Park, and he said to me, this might come up later in an episode possibly, about Jurassic Park as one of the best opening scenes of any movie ever. I think he's onto a very good point. I wouldn't entirely agree, but I do know exactly what it means, because he's right. It is it teases everything you need in that moment. Like that park needs actual safety regulations. But the point is that a man opens a gate with his hands. You fucking stupid. But the point is that when you're a kid, your favorite scenes are the raptor scenes or the T-Rex attack or something like that, or the Brachiosaurus. It's so cool. When you're an adult, your favorite scene is the conversation around the table about the responsibility of science and corporate overtaking, and it's like it's Crichton operating on so many levels, and Spielberg at we say the literal height of his power. That film is glorious.
Yeah. Well, with the winner announced, we now open the floodgates for the giveaway. Like I said, you can win the DVDs, all of them from season 8, and the latest release from our shop. the lovely purple avatars design there from one Mr. John Scarrett. And like I said, every single film plus all of the good films to do with those films from season 8, it's a hell of a load of DVDs. So please let us know what you think should have won in the comments. And we'll pick one of the comments at random.
If you think Jurassic Park should have won as well, just say Jurassic Park. That's fine.
That's fine. You can still say Jurassic Park. That's allowed.
Yeah.
Just as we wrap up here, just get a few comments in the chat. We'll do the big reveal.
Just like hook. What the fuck?
Yeah, people chanting hook. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, bang.
Oh.
Yeah. Hook. Oh, the hook. Show us the hook.
And while the comments are coming in, you can go to sequelisers.com. You can go and check out our shop there. You can buy that T-shirt and this T-shirt as well. This is the.
You can't buy this one. Sorry, this
is the black one with the red logo. Our original design here.
Either.
You can't buy either of them, but you can find our Discord link, find a link to this YouTube channel, find the links to all the podcast services and all that kind of stuff. If you're joining us for the first time on YouTube and haven't heard the podcast, you can go find all the links for Spotify and Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, all that kind of stuff at sequelisers.com. As you can see by our little handles down here, I'm JLW Chambers on Twitter. Matt, you are STOGHZ. You are Stogs. Tim is trivia_lad. Go and follow us all on Twitter. We, of course, Sequelisers on Twitter as well, if you want to go and follow the show as a whole. And Matt, you teased a couple of reviews earlier and mentioned stuff. Usually we get more time to deal and delve into that. But you can go to the redrighthand.co.uk and read Matt's movie reviews, which are picking up again because cinemas are open again.
Yeah, I got to get through my F9, my Space Jam, my Black. No, I got them already. I've got to get my Suicide Squad. I've got a lot of things to get up there. My Drunk Cruise reviews,
a lot of things to get there. And speaking of getting things out there, you can of course go to manscaped.com and use the code sequel, get 20% off and free shipping, and a lovely little package, just like this, from our friends over at Manscaped.
Mm-hmm. A package
highly recommend
to
it.
tidy up your package.
Exactly, a package to end all packages.
I'm going to say this because I know it's always a thing. If you're watching this on YouTube and not the live stream, not now, but in the future, thank you for commenting what you think should have won. You're obviously not eligible for us to pick it up because that's the future. We're not precogs. Just wanted to put that out there just in case someone's like, oh, brilliant, I can win something. It's like, I'm sorry. Just now, in this moment.
Yeah. Exactly. So we've got quite a few entries coming in right now. I will have a scroll. I will have a pick, and we'll have a look. I will close my eyes on the stream. I will do a scroll, and then I'll click, and we'll see what happens. How about that, listeners?
It'll just be a regular comment. Like regular comment.
I can't think of doing a random number generator or anything like that because that's just going to be too much.
I was thinking about this. It's actually very difficult. So for now, we're just going to.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a guy I follow called Ryan Ishida, who's a Japanese dude, and he does this every now and then. He's like, okay, which should I do my live stream? And he does this thing where he says, and I'm going with this one here, and his eyes just appear on the screen. So that's why I expect.
Basically, can do that, but with my mouse, and I'll close my eyes.
That's all I ask.
So. Ready in 3, 2, 1. Close my eyes. Do some scrolling, and that one. Hey, Michael Lane. Jaws should have won because it's a period piece in certain ways. The characterization is better than most of the others, and more was done with less.
That's not an unreasonable thing to say.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Not very good arguments.
Congratulations, Michael Lane. Like I said, DM us on Twitter. Our DMs are open. Go to twitter.com/sequelisers. Hit us up. And let us know your T-shirt size and your address, and we'll confirm it all for you and get the box of DVDs and T-shirts sent your way. Congratulations!
Some great films and some terrible films to look forward to.
That's true. On the off chance you don't have a Twitter handle for any reason, you can just email us at sequelisers@gmail.com.
That's a better option, actually. Yeah, email your information. Or Twitter. Doesn't matter. You follow us on Twitter.
Just get your name to us.
I follow you anyway. It's fine. Congratulations, Michael Lane. Thank you ever so much, everybody else joining us in the chat. Our usual patron people who we'll give a shout out to now. Our lovely patrons. You recognize Jonathan Park from the chat. You recognize Xenos from the chat. Josh Miles has been in the chat as well. Andy Steen's been in the chat. Josh van der Sluis has been in the chat. And everybody else. I know there's been a few others. I know James Wilson's joined us. I know a few other. Stuart, we mentioned earlier. Canis has been there as well. Thank you ever so much, everyone, for joining us, all the way from the executive producers to all the other tiers as well. Thank you ever so much for your support on Patreon. It really does mean the world to us and allow us to upgrade our mics and get cameras and do live streams and stuff. So Thank you so much.
I will be at home for the next
guys.
live stream, so my mic will be better next time.
There we go. Our levels will be a bit better. Our mics will be a bit better, and we'll be sorted out. So, yeah. Congratulations, Michael. Thank you very much for joining us, everybody. And we'll see you next month for another Director Showdown and another monthly live stream. Goodbye.
Bye.